Hey, man, you may not hear this a lot in Philadelphia. Krause has put a smile on my face today. Hey, yeah, I noticed some people in Philly that may be going, what? Those two guys? You know what I mean, man? Tanner just goes like this. Are we Big Sills guys the last 4 years? I went, yeah, and that's why I start the show out with Big Sills. By the way, to Mrs. Krause and Xander's sisters who watch the program, you can't be Cowboy fans. I get the deal. I get it. By the way, Mark Holmes is going to be on with us at 3:30. We're going to move Xander in the rotation and move him up into the closer's role like a Mariano Rivera at 4:30. Okay? So we'll have him there. Hopefully Philly 500 comes back in it. We appreciate you coming aboard. Please hit the like button. 4th of July week. I can't tell you how much I enjoy that. I've been telling you all week, man, I love the 4th of July. God, country, Big Sills, and the National Football Show. Truth, justice, in the Big Sills way. That's what we do here, man. Hey, and all the rest of the shows, you know what they do? Even the news guys, they take the week off. We don't take any days off because you come here and pick our show. I owe it to you. What do you think? I'm one of the NBA guys that needs load management? You think I'm one of those guys? Big Sills is not a load management guy. I may be a load, but I am not a load management guy. Can you believe it? 2 weeks out from the Jets reporting to training camp. 2 weeks out. That's right, baby. Red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue forever. You got your load right here, Sills. Hey, Senor. You know, look at that, Senor. Back in the day, I'd be like, hey, dude, what are you, stupid? Now I'm like, that's funny. We're building relationships up here on this program. You grilling anything tomorrow, Sills? Sam, maybe a nice lobster tail, a steak, some corn on the cob, maybe a rib or two. Yeah, but I'm not grilling because I'm not allowed to touch the grill. It belongs to my wife. I almost lit the house on fire numerous times, so I'm not allowed. Sills, where's Reddick's extension? By the way, I heard the guys talking this morning. Xander and John McMullen have done such a great job. That show in the morning, Birds 365, is completely different than it was 3 months ago. Not that it wasn't listenable then, because it was. And I like what John said a couple days ago when he said he wanted it to be more kind of like the sports reporters that ESPN, when they actually were a network that people used to want to watch. Remember that show that used to come on? I used to think it used to come on Sundays. That was a great show. I liked the sports reporters. You hear these guys giving these great opinions. Mike Lupica and all, who used to go on that show all the time. Philly guys used to go on that thing too. That was a great show. I miss shows like that. And again, those guys were journalists. I'm not a journalist. You guys know that. Okay, so that's but there's been a little bit of back and forth, and there's a lot more youth on that program. Americans are too fat. It's all right. Nothing wrong with a little extra weight. That's what makes the Eagles good in that O-line, isn't it? Hey, Cordo, I'd rather be an O-lineman right now. One thing the Eagles do great, build O-lines. That's right, Flex, and ESPN should have kept that show. Darn Sills is not a man. He can't grill. Prince. I'm just not allowed around fire. Like, I'm not supposed to light candles and shit, too. I get it, Prince. I want to be a griller, but I'm just not very good at it, man. I'm not. Speaking of Reddick, wow, did you see this coming out? Or what? Now he knows what was up. Getting nothing in return. Sills probably can't even cook on a Foreman grill. I actually have a Foreman grill. Hey, Sills, how's Howard Eskin doing now? Look, man, my problem with that story is not really so much Howard Eskin. It's the company Eskin works for, Odyssey. Okay? I guess when your last name is Eskin, it's royalty. And if you're being accused of sexual harassment, which, by the way, I've been accused of everything on the planet, short of murder. I've never been accused of that. You know why? And I had Joy Taylor working for me. I have never been accused of that when it comes to my job, when it comes to people I work with. Never. Not happening. One thing I'll say about it, hey, I want to hear more of the facts, but for the company to do the investigation themselves and still keep him on the air and the Eagles not fire him for inappropriate conduct or at least put him on suspension is all you need to know about that ESP guy. See, Odyssey picks and chooses. They were supposed to give me that Boston morning show. I have such an ass with them. I don't really care about Howard Eskin. He's like a pawn in this thing. It's that company. They will pick and choose. You know why? He's an old CBS guy. They protect the CBS guys. They're going to take him off the air. That's fireable. Shit, people have been fired for less. Okay? Been fired for less. I know people who have been fired for less. He's still going to be on the air this week. So they're going to utilize the ratings, the conversation, and the Eagles will do nothing because he's a good mouthpiece. Dang. Hey, I'm jealous. I'm really jealous. And by the way, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it because Odyssey's a dying company anyway. 7 years ago, that company, when I first started working for it, 5 years ago, I would say, not 7, the stock was trading at $60. You know what it's trading at now? 10 cents. 10 cents. It's about the finest outhouse wallpaper right now that you can find. It's like 10 cents. They've driven that thing into the ground. 10 cents. Like $70 5 years ago. That's a true story. Not that iHeart's doing any better. Radio's, hey, unfortunately, see, Joe Kraus and I, we cut our teeth in radio. And we'd ever want to see the platform go away. I know I don't. I love radio. I do. I will always love radio. I despise the people in it today. Jeff Sotolano, that guy in Philadelphia who runs all of the stations, is the biggest piece of shit I know. Okay? He is totally a piece of shit. I can't stand that guy. And I wish nothing but horrible things for that guy in his job. Not personally. I don't care. But professionally, I do. He is one of the worst human beings I've ever known. Mark Chernoff and him and I used to have screaming matches about if I was going to behave on the air at WIP or FAN or EEI. I said I won't answer that. You should have heard those conversations. Hey, look, we want to give you a contract for WIP, Andy Bloom, right after Angelo. Will you behave? I'm not answering that. Wanted to give me the morning show after Kirk and Callahan. They offered it to me. I have a 3-year deal. I could post it anytime you want. And will you be? No. I'm doing a show or I'm not. Screaming matches with those two. Screaming matches. Oh, like losing your voice. Who are you to talk to me like that? You can't program a transistor radio. So what you guys are getting here is the best of. This is how I used to do my show when I was in Tampa. Okay? I'm just better today. That show had 12, 13, 14 shares in the morning. And I didn't give a shit about anybody. I didn't care. But I cared about my audience. Okay? Let's have some fun out of the gate here before we get into the topics. So a friend of mine in Atlantic City gave me some over-unders on the Eagles. Dude, we're like 3 weeks out from the start of training camp for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Right? Like 3 weeks out. So let me get, where's my pen? Here it is. Because I like Sills because I can tell how much the Eagles suck. We used to do the WIP pregame live from the vet parking lot. The F-bombs almost got Angelo kicked off the air. Hey, Mark, that must have been great. How many people used to go to the old Wing Bowl when that thing was kicking ass at the Forum? Or, excuse me, at the Spectrum? How many people used to go to that thing? I've been to a couple of them. How many people? Tony Bruno invited me at the Spectrum when you guys, they held it in the Spectrum one year that you guys had that Wing Bowl, that WIP Wing Bowl. How many people went to that thing? God, the people that would show up. That thing was so awesome. Holy cow. That thing was great. It had to be one of the greatest events. Okay, probably Jason Kelsey's on the Shore event now. Kind of rivals that thing. You probably got the idea from that thing, man, because that Wing Bowl was out of hand. Hollywood said the Civic Center was better. Was it? I went to the Spectrum. Danny DeVito was there. I believe it was the first or second year that we had it at the Spectrum. Cordo goes, Big Sills, I went there. Dude, that thing was over the top great. That Wing Bowl, man. The Civic Center was classic. God. Hey, dude, how great is that? Sills, was that the Wachovia Center? No, man. They had the first 2 years of the Wing Bowl, they had it at the Spectrum. Dude, the fans that used to come in that used to listen to WIP in Philadelphia, man, people in WFAN would come down also from New York. You understand that the first sports talk radio station in America with the platform on what we see traditionally was in Philly. Sports talk radio, the birth of sports talk radio is Philadelphia. It's not New York. New York claims it. It's not true. Philadelphia invented sports talk. Okay? They invented it. It was the first station that had the platform across the board 24/7. But you know what they did better than FAN did? They put all the local guys on. They went to the Inquirer and started hiring guys like Angelo. They got Tony Bruno. They got Morgani. They got people like that. That's when the old quarterback who owned the station before CBS got their filthy hands on it. They put all the Philadelphia local guys on it. They didn't put national guys. Nobody in Philadelphia wants to hear a big mouth national guy. Nobody gives a shit about those guys because they don't like you. They don't understand a market like that. Love Al Morgani too, man. B. Costello goes, New York invented pissing and shitting in the street. Whew. Ain't that the truth? You walk down there on Times Square, man, it smells like a urinal. Used to be a cool place to go. Not so sure. I was never in the Civic or the Spectrum. Didn't watch area sports do a lot of the time. The shitty vet, though. Hey, Mike, that Wing Bowl at the Spectrum, and you roll into the Spectrum. I love the Spectrum. I know that you guys love what you have now at Wells Fargo, but there's something about the vet and the Spectrum that made Philadelphia sports an iconic place to go watch. They weren't great buildings. So it was kind of, I looked at it kind of like the place I played, the Orange Bowl. Dude, it was not a great place, but it was a legendary place. Hey, Flexen goes, the vet was horrible. Yeah, but the vet was legendary, wasn't it? Right? Spectrum's legendary. Legendary. Right? Flyers. Your only true dynasty. Right? Hey, man, it may not have been a great place, but it was your place. Now, all these companies like Jeffrey Lurie and all these other places, Josh Harris, they own these buildings. Doesn't have the same fan environment kind of thing to it. It's more corporate, right? It's more corporate. That's the one thing that these new buildings don't get. They've moved fans further from the field. Those places like the Vet, the Spectrum, you were right on top of everybody. You go to any of these new buildings, they move you further away from the floor, the ice, the diamond. It's not the same. Right? Caught a giant halibut yesterday. God, I love that fish. God, I love that fish, man. Stills, was it a shithole? The Orange Bowl? We have to ask my aunt that. I just love playing there, man. 8 Super Bowls, all the national championship games, legendary Dolphin teams. I played, John F. Kennedy spoke there. I mean, I saw a Prince concert there when I was down there. I saw Madonna. I met all these people down there because I played in the Orange Bowl. One of the most iconic stadiums of all time, playing in the Orange Bowl. There was nothing like it. And the reason we loved it so much, it's one of the reasons why the 58-game win streak was down there. 58 games at home. Let me put it to you this way. Between the Dolphins and the Hurricanes, in my 3 years down there, between us, we lost 7 games. We lost 1. They lost 6 in 3 years. Nobody lost there at the Orange Bowl. It was a fun environment, man. Saturday Canes, Sunday Dolphins. It's just a crazy environment. Okay? That was trash. We couldn't win back then. The link was better. We actually started winning championships. No. Championship. I wouldn't say championships. Championship. Okay? I didn't say that the link's not a better place. I said the Vet was more fan-friendly. That's what I said it was. Sills rocks the red Corvette. I did have a little red Corvette. Not a fine gift from Norman Brayman. Thank you, Norman Brayman, who was at the time the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Gifted Big Sills a Corvette for $1 a month. I love posting that picture of that thing, too. I get the car, it had a mile on it. Too bad it didn't have power windows. It was one of those cars that they put in the window. It was like a showpiece car. Come in and buy it, like an 87 Vet or something like that. It's really great. Rims were great, everything. Had a sunroof on it. But it didn't have power windows, and I didn't have any kind of cassette in it. He goes, well, what'd you expect? You think you're going to get a fully loaded Vet for free? And I said, well, I had a pretty good year. Hey, Big Sills invented nil. Hey, Big Sills invented nil. I didn't need nil. I had it. I didn't. The Vet turf was awful. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Hey, Charlie, when they start talking about paying the student athletes, I went, wow, I wonder how much they're making. I lived in an apartment down on Brickell Avenue. I had a Corvette, never worried about anything. Shit, I yearned for those days. Didn't have to pay any bills. I don't even know how my bills were paid. Had 30 grand in my pocket. Jesus, criminy. What an absolutely awesome environment. All right, so I got these Vegas over-unders on your Eagles. So play along with me. It's not just about Hurts, it's about everybody. Hurts, Over under 22 touchdown passes. I'm going to take over. I think he gets more than 22 touchdown passes this year. Charlie goes under. Under, Charlie? Fly says over. My seats at the vet were 700 level. Hey, Slagger, you must have been a Hellraiser then. Look at flexing under. Holy cow. Under 22 touchdown passes for Jalen Hurts? Over, no doubt, says Twiz. Over 30, says David. Probably just over. All right, let's go next one. Saquon Barkley, rushing yards, over under 1,265 yards. Saquon Barkley, according to Atlantic City, over under 1,265 yards rushing. Boy, that's right on the number, man. I'm going to take under because I don't think he's healthy for the full 17. Easily under. That's under. I think Hurts is over 22 passing touchdowns. Okay. Under. Under for rushing. 1,500, which he's never done. He may have his rookie year. Had a pretty good season. I think he's going to run his butt off. 18. Hey, Steve, you might as well just put $2,000. He's going to get more carries than Miles did when he got 1,200. Yes, sir, baby. I say this guy gets 900 yards rushing. All right, here's the next one. More snaps at right guard. Tyler Steen or the field? Who has more snaps for the Eagles at right guard? Tyler Steen or the field? David says the field. The rookie, Trevor Keegan. I know, Charlie, these things are close. I got the field too. I got the field. They'll make Becton the right guard and Steen the swing tackle. Sills, I'm taking Micaiah Becton. Okay? Next one. Oh, this is going to be a great one. Nolan Smith, over under 3.5 sacks. I got under. Over. Sills way under. Nolan All-Pro, baby. That's a low bar. Well, he hasn't done shit. Over? He better be over. Oh, wait till we get to my expectations on defense. Oh, yeah. Under 3, and I got under 2. Nolan Smith out for the season, week 2, says Taylor. 4.5. He better get more than 3.5. Flexing, I'm with you. Okay. Nolan won't have 3.5 tackles all season. He better get 6. We'll talk about that in a minute. Oh, my God. Here's the next one. Nakobe Dean will lead the Eagles defense in tackles. How many games? Over under or 2. Wait, over under 2 games. Nakobe Dean leads the team in tackles. Over under is 2 when it comes to games. Over. I got way under, man. Over. The guy's blown out loud. Hey, by the way, I got to tell you something. This is the first time when I'm going to use the word John McMullen and preposterous. He thinks that Nakobe Dean has more upside than Devin White. When I heard him say that, I was like, the one thing Devin White has shown, Devin White at least can play. He's shown at least he can play. I mean, I say under. This guy never leads the Eagles in his entire career in Philadelphia. He'll never lead the Eagles in any game in tackles. Okay. Who has more sacks this year? Bryce Huff or Hassan? Woo! Jackie Chan. Reddick. How many? Who has more sacks this year? Oh, I got Reddick. Hassan. Reddick, Sills. Reddick won't even play all season. You better hope he does. That second round is contingent on him playing 65%, 10 sacks. Or guess what? You don't get a third rounder for 3 more years. How you doing? Woo! Only Hassan Reddick and Myles Garrett are the only players in the last 4 years in the National Football League that have double-digit sacks. Do you know that? Only Hassan Reddick and Myles Garrett are the only ones. Woo! Here's the last one. How many playoff wins do the Eagles have this year? Over under 1. So, B. Costello, you're taking the over. Twiz, you're taking the over. Over, easy. Under. I don't think we make it this year. Under. Yeah. I got under. Hey, by the way, they don't really think too much of Jalen Hurts this year. They think this guy was like a 1-year dude, like I told you he was years ago. National people, NFL pundits, they're not thinking anything of your boy. Wait a minute. Wait, I have something here. Here, before we get into the topics, DraftKings came out with their favorites for the 2024 NFL Most Valuable Player. Obviously, Mahomes is number 1 at plus 450. Number 2, Josh Allen and CJ Stroud at plus 850 is second. CJ Stroud, he just got in the league. Number 3, Joe Burrow, plus 900. Number 4, Get this. Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love at plus 1,400. Number 5, Aaron Rodgers at plus 1,700. Number 7, Christian McCaffrey at 1,800. And pulling up the rear from the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts at plus $2,000. It's DraftKings. How you doing? Damn, Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, and Jordan Love have better odds to win the Most Valuable Player award. Sam, that actually is a decent bet to take. I'd take that 2,000 plus 2,000 on Hurts. That's a better bet than taking the Mahomes deal. Get more money on your return. You damn right. All right. Where's that list? Here we go. Flexen goes, F that MVP. Yeah, okay. Please hit the like button, guys. Here we go. So I'm going to set some benchmarks here for your players. I'm not going to do it on offense. It's too easy. Let's do it on defense. Okay? Let's do it on defense. Milton Williams, left end. What are your expectations? Here's how I'm looking at it. Plus 50 tackles and 8 sacks is what I'm expecting out of him. What would you say? Okay. +50 tackles, 8 sacks. Twiz, wow. Says fair. Cordo says over. You think he does more? 60-10? I got big faith in Milton. I actually like Milton too. I'm cool with that, Sills. Tell you what, guys, he's on a contract year. You better hope he don't get that. Because if he does, Howie Roseman is going to have to sign that guy to a $25 million deal. So if he gets 60 tackles and 10 sacks, he ain't coming back to Philly for some cheap-ass deal. This guy's going to come back for a big-time contract because he's young. I mean, you guys remember Michael Bennett? Michael Bennett was a guy that he started in New Orleans first, then he went to Tampa, and he kind of floated around the league a little bit. I don't even think Michael Bennett was drafted. Then he gets up to Seattle, and he starts taking off, and he becomes one of the preeminent pass rushers. And they had to start paying his ass. Now, they could afford it because why? Russell Wilson was the third-round guy, and they didn't have to pay him. So if Milton Williams goes plus 60 and like 10 sacks, that guy's going to command anywhere in the $20 million range. That's going to be a breakout season, man. That would be hey, knowing the way Howie and the Eagles do business, I'm no longer going to say they can't keep him. But that's going to be a lot to ask. Maybe they move off Sweat. Okay, because he is young and he's healthier. Right? Yeah, hey, Flexen. One thing now we now see, the Eagles are not afraid to put the money bag up front. So that's what a great position Milton Williams is in. I'm looking forward to watching him play. I think he's a really good football player. As a matter of fact, I think he's got more upside than Jordan Davis because he's shown more. He's more durable. He's more reliable. He's more flexible. And he's more versatile. I mean, he can play nose, DT, and end. I mean, I don't know. You could put a premium on that. So Howie better do his job. Hey, flexing. He has. He knows what he's doing when it comes to these contract negotiations and structuring these deals. He's pretty good at it. Nose tackle. Jordan Davis. What are your expectations on Jordan Davis this year? Remember, he's the 13th pick. He's the 13th pick in the draft. So there's built-in expectations. Nothing? Well, that's not good. They're already in talks to extend Milton Williams. Oh, okay. How could you be in contract talks with Milton Williams when Milton Williams is going into a contract year? Why in the world would you want to be in a contract conversation before you even started a season? I wouldn't negotiate with the Eagles right now unless the contract was in the $20 million range. Why would I do that? They're trying to get him before he goes out there and proves that he can play and get 60 tackles and 10 sacks, because then it'll cost you $25 million annually. Right now, they're probably trying to come in there and get him at 12 or 13. Now, if you want to start negotiating with me and I'm at 6 or 7 sacks by midseason, or I got 5 sacks by midseason, it's still going to cost you 15 to 20 million. 2 sacks and 50 tackles, Mike says. Prince is right. That's what the Eagles do. Here's my expectations for Jordan Davis. I got 39 plus tackles and 3 sacks. He does that. I think he had a good season. For a nose. I mean, somebody tell me if you want to make a comparison, take a look at the numbers that the New York Giants nose tackle had last year. And then let's kind of compare and put the contrast in there, because that's what you're hoping Jordan Davis turns into. You're hoping that he turns into, I got 40 and 2. Okay, Jack, we're kind of on the same page. Take a look at what that nose tackle, Dexter Lawrence, did in New York last year, because he was the all-pro nose. And there's your benchmark on the best noses in the league. And whatever that is, you can make your assessment on what you think 39 and 3. I got plus 39 and 3 sacks for Jordan Davis. Okay? JD will be our anchor on defense and will open up our line and backers to eat. Wasn't the case last year. It was that shit system that Patricia had. So we shall see. It's going to be a heavy demand on how often teams have to double team Carter. Bob says, Sills, Davis as a nose, the numbers will be low. But that's okay. I expect that. They were with Wolfark. If he shuts down the run in the middle of the field, holds up the line successfully, that's exactly what the job I'm looking at this year. All you guys have to do is take a look at Dexter Lawrence's numbers. You look at what he did a year ago, and you'll know what the best is and the high bar when it comes to playing nose guard in the league. Fangio uses interior stunts to open up pressure from the DTs. He does a lot of twists. You know, I heard those guys talking about bringing pressure with Devin White. Well, he brought pressure last year with his stunts in the front 7. They didn't do a lot of blitzing last year, but they broke the Miami Dolphins sack record. So obviously they know how to get people in space. Okay? Yeah, Vita Vea is another guy. Vita Vea, Dexter Lawrence, people like that. Yeah, absolutely. Right defensive end, Jaylen Carter. What are your expectations for Jaylen Carter? What are your expectations on Jaylen Carter? $55 tackles and 9 sacks. Big Seals, do you see Fangio's scheme or Moore's offensive scheme starting out slow? The offense will start out slow. Communication will be the issue on the other side for the defense. I need Jaylen Carter to eat this year. Here's where I'm at with Carter. I got Jaylen Carter at 60-plus tackles, 9-plus sacks. And I got him as a Pro Bowler, floating around that All-Pro. I think he's All-Pro potential. Of all the players on your defensive front four, he's All-Pro candidate. He has a chance this year to be one of the best interior defensive linemen in pro football. His conditioning is the only thing, in my opinion, that will stop him from being an All-Pro. Isn't that suck? You don't have to be an athlete to be in shape. You have to have desire to want to be in shape. Boy, what a conversation that could be. You tell somebody this, you're in shape, you're an All-Pro. I don't know how that's not the number one priority on your brain cell. Every single day that you wake up, you take your head off your pillow. You mean to tell me all I have to do, and the simplest thing is being in shape? Yeah, because I believe that. I saw him earlier in the year, the way he moved around with his feet and his hands, the way he threw offensive guards around, how dominant he was, how powerful he looked, how much speed he had. My opinion, that guy is going to be an absolute monster this year. I think this guy is going to be an All-Pro defensive tackle this year. He's just got to want it. My question is his brain too young? Is he still immature? Conditioning and maturity, in my opinion, are going to dictate how far he goes this year. And I've been high on him ever since we drafted him. I told you he was the next Jerome Brown. Okay? I think the kid's great. I think the kid is the best talented defensive lineman that you've drafted since Fletcher. And to go back even further, I think he's better than Corey Simon. I think he has more upside than Thomas. And he goes back to the Jerome days. He's one of those kind of guys. Josh Sweat, edge. I've done more than just the starters here. What's your expectations for Josh Sweat this year? What's your expectations for Josh Sweat? $10 sacks? Flexen says not much. Well, you better hope he has a lot. Because if Josh Sweat doesn't contribute to that front four, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. If Sweat is a non-factor, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Okay? You don't believe in Sweat. This is what I got for Josh Sweat. 50-plus tackles, 7+ sacks. I think he's capable. I think he's a good football player. I don't know why you're down on him. Then again, I don't know why you moved off of Reddick. So what? He's an asshole. So what? He wanted more money. Deal with it. You moved off the player because you didn't like the way he negotiated, or because he may have been a jackass not wanting to drop in coverage. Work with it. You did with Hugh Douglas. Work with it. Coach him. It's not about you, Howie. It's about coaching personalities that sometimes you may not get along with. Nobody really liked Charles Haley, but they dealt with Charles Haley. The good coaches did, and they got the most out of him. That's why he's got 5 rings. Should have kept Reddick. You're damn right you should have kept Reddick. By the way, these are my expectations. These aren't what I think they're going to do. Okay? Next guy. Bryce Huff. What are your expectations for Bryce Huff? Bryce Huff. Your expectations for him. Six sacks. $11 sacks. 7.5, 12. Okay, let's take a look at this. Most tackles he's ever had in a season is 29. That was this past season. 10 sacks. 19 solo. Years before that, 6, 14, and 16 total tackles in a season. Here's my expectations. 30+ tackles and 11 sacks plus. Or you signed a lemon at $18 million. Reddick had a cast on his hand the first 4 games. Patricia, and Xander said it, he evaporated last year at the end of the season. So did everyone else. And they were dropping him in coverage. And somewhere in the middle between what the side did for him, he had 11 sacks. In a bad year. That's Bryce Huff's greatest year he's had as a NFL guy in 4 years or 5 years in the league. You're telling me that Hassan Reddick had a bad year last year and still had 11 sacks and 60 tackles? That's okay. Well, he's never accomplished that. Eagle X goes, Huff is not a bum. That's naive. Well, then why didn't the Jets start him? Why did he come off the bench? Why did they let him walk out the building if he was so instrumental? Eagle X, they didn't trade him. If he was so instrumental to the Jets and a defensive-minded guy in Robert Saleh, why didn't they want him? And more importantly, why didn't they start him if he was so good? Why? On a team that didn't win a lot of games. They didn't want to pay Huff 17. So you have what you're saying is a preeminent pass rusher in the NFL. And you are saying the Jets didn't want to pay Huff 17, but they're going to pay Reddick 15 this year. So you mean to tell me $2 million is what meant Huff to walk out of the building in New York? They're theoretically paying Hassan Reddick the same money Huff. What are you talking about? The Jets didn't want him, and they're paying him the same money as Huff. Do you not see that? Slager goes, it's not that simple. Well, help me out some more here. How it's not that simple. Reddick had a horrible year last year, according to Eagle fans, with 11 sacks and 60 tackles. This guy had his greatest year with 29 tackles, 10 sacks coming off the bench. Eagles are paying him $17 million. Jets are paying Reddick $15 million. What's the difference? Why they let this superstar walk off the lot? Why did they trade him? What? Hey, you mean to tell at least the Eagles traded Hassan and potentially are going to get a deal back in 3 years for the guy, either a second or third rounder? What? Why in the world did the Jets let him walk out the building? Jets haven't re-signed Huff. They don't have to. They traded for him. He's under contract with the Jets now. They're not under any obligation to sign that guy now. They can wait to the end of the year. Huff is a great pass rusher based off what? One fucking year? That's not a great pass rusher. That's a great season. Not even great in today's NFL. It's a good season. Why did the Jets let him walk off the lot without a trade? Without any compensation? Nothing. Like I said, at least the Eagles traded Reddick. Eagle guy goes, Reddick is not getting a multi-year deal from the Jets. They don't have to deal with it. I'll tell you what he will do. If Hassan Reddick rolls into this year and gets 14 sacks this season, they will give him a multi-year contract. No one values Reddick. That's why Jets are paying him the same money they're going to pay Huff in Philly. They basically swapped the player. And the Jets got the better pass rusher. Or at least the more established pass rusher. If you guys want to go this route here, by the way, once again, he's the more established pass rusher. Guy goes, it's not a swap. You're damn right it's not a swap. Your guy's not proven. Bryce Huff is not a proven commodity. This guy's his best year was this last year, 29 tackles on a team that was behind the entire year. And they were mop-up numbers. I heard John say he's led the NFL in success rate getting to the quarterback. When's the last time the Jets had a winning season where you're not constantly behind? Dude, this guy's not a starter. Let's move on. Right inside linebacker, Devin White. What are your expectations for Devin White? Expectations this year for Devin White are what? By the way, Mark Holmes, we're going to go Eagle. We're going to play that game with Mark Holmes. Roster position with Mark Holmes. Hopefully Philly 500. joins us as well. Okay? We're going to look at quarterback versus quarterback, right guard versus right guard. And we're going to look at roster for roster. We're not looking at who wins more games. We're going to look at who has the better roster from a Cowboy perspective. What's Devin White? What do you here? Here's my expectations. 100+ tackles and 4 sacks. Hey, man, you eventually got to replace TJ Edwards or Kaiser White one day, don't you? Don't you? Kaiser White had 117 tackles his last year in Philly. And the other guy had 159. Surely you're expecting 100 tackles out of Devin White, aren't you? I am. Left inside linebacker, Nakobe Dean or someone else. I got 90 tackles, 2 sacks. If the guy's a third rounder. John McMullen says he has more upside than Nakobe or Devin White. And he's, according to John, he's going to get the opportunity to start. Holy shit. What a train wreck. Dude, I already know the boat's hitting the iceberg. I already know it with Nakobe Dean. That guy's already going to hit I already know he's going to hit the iceberg. And you're going to sail right into it. Strong side linebacker, Nolan Smith. What are your expectations on Nolan Smith? What are you expecting out of him this year? What an exercise in reality we're having here. Better than last year? Sorry. Five to 8 sacks. 6 sacks, says Mike. 7 sacks. Nine sacks. Here's my expectations for Nolan Smith. 60+ tackles and 8.5 sacks plus. Other than that, you're a dude. You're a Derek Barnett. You better have 60+ tackles and 8+ sacks. He's the 31st pick in the draft. He's going into his second year. I mean, do I think he gets these? Never near it. Remember, these are expectations. Will these guys live up to this? Maybe that's the better question. Do I think Milton Williams will live up to 50+ tackles and 8 sacks? Yes. Do I think Jordan Davis will live up to 39+ tackles and 3 sacks in a new system playing nose? Got to remember something. Playing in a forefront a year ago, now going to a nose guard, is a completely different style of play. So the numbers are going to be lesser. So if he gives you 39+ tackles and 3 sacks, in my opinion, and more than a first and second down 30 front, that's going to be good. I think he could probably hit these. Do I think Jaylen Carter is 60+ tackles and 9 sacks? I do. Do I think Bryce Huff or Josh Sweat is 50+ tackles and 7+ sacks? I do. Do I think Bryce Huff is 30+ tackles and 11 sacks? I do not. Do I think Nakobe Dean has 90+ tackles and 2 sacks? I do not. Do I think Devin White has 100-plus tackles and 4 sacks? I do not. Do I think Nolan Smith has 60-plus tackles and 8-plus sacks this year? I do not. Quinyon Mitchell, left cornerback. What are your expectations for him this year? Here's mine. 48-plus tackles and 3 picks. If he's around that number, he'll be all rookie. Do I think he hits those? No, but I think he'll be around it. I think he'll be around it. Gardner Johnson, 78-plus tackles and 3 picks. Does he hit it? Yes or no? I do not believe he hits that. If healthy, Mike, I think CJ has a chance to be around that. Again, 66. I'll live with that with 3 picks. Okay? I will. If he's 66 and 3, all right, we're there. We're kind of there. Do I think he goes over that 78 plus and over 3? I do not. Reed Blankenship, free safety. I got 80-plus tackles and 2 picks. Do I think he hits that number? I do. One thing that Reed does, he may not be the best player back there, but he makes some plays. He makes some plays back there. And you know what? He's probably going to be the most knowledgeable safety back there. Remember, Gardner Johnson's not really one of those guys. He's a converted corner. He's not really a good guy and fits when it comes to run defense. Reed needs to come off the bench. Well, depends. If the other guys are picking up the defense and understand communication. Dude, Reed Blankenship is going to play. You know why? He knows what he's doing. Right cornerback, Slay. I got Slay at 55 tackles and 3 picks. Do I think he can hit this? I do. I think he'll be right around there. 50 tackles, 2 or 3 picks. That's still not $12 million, but Slay wasn't your problem last year in defense. Okay. Pass rushing and the other safeties and corner were your issue. Not that he was sensational. Keely Ringo. What are your expectations on Keely Ringo? I got 50-plus tackles and 2 picks. Do I think he can do this? I do. I do think that. Cooper DeJean. What are your expectations on him? What's his role on that? I still think they still have to shuffle the deck on that. Cooper DeJean, what do you think? Rookie of the year? What are your expectations? I suspect he won't start until at least mid-season. If he starts anywhere, it'll be a nickel. Ringo's inexperienced and will favor target. This is what I got for Cooper DeJean. I got 50-plus tackles with him and 2 picks also. That would be a great year for him. And I agree. I don't know where they're going to put him yet. I have no idea where they're going to put him. See, I don't think they've really shoveled the deck back there in the secondary yet and tried to figure out what to do with the guy. Twist, he may be the slot guy. A rookie with 6 picks? Okay. You should put money down on that, Forte. A rookie with 6 picks. Solid year, won't be rookie of the year. Depends if that pick number's high for him. I like the kid. I think the kid has a chance to be a good football player because you can move him in multiple places. Start the young guys. Well, flexing. That'd be great if you're saying start the young guys when you still have Bradbury on the team. Here's an interesting one. Isaiah Rodgers. What are your expectations for him? And I like the player. I like the player. You can't trade Bradbury. You guys are not getting that Bradbury trading. Who's going to pick up $12 million for a guy who was graded one of the worst corners in the league last year? Okay? By the way, once again, these are my expectations. These are not my predictions. There's a difference here. Use your ears. These are not my predictions. These are my expectations. For Isaiah Rodgers, I got 60-plus tackles and 3 picks. The 60-plus tackles is going to tell me what the direction the front office is going to do and go with him. He's on a 1-year deal too. If that guy goes out there and he has a 60-plus tackle season and he has 5 or 6 picks, you're looking at a $20 million guy. The problem that you have here with some of these players, if they do live up to expectations, again, these are not predictions. These are expectations. Milton Williams does what I say, 20-plus, 50-plus tackles and 8 sacks. He's a $15 to $20 million a year guy. You got to worry about that because you got to sign him to a 3-year contract extension. Jordan Davis is going to determine whether or not the Eagles are going to address a contract extension for him soon based off of what he does this year. As of right now, Jordan Davis does not deserve a contract extension. They'll give him one. You know why? He's a 13th pick. That's not a reason to give a guy an extension. Landon Dickerson deserved an extension. Okay? He deserved one. Jordan Davis does not. Devin White doesn't get 100 tackles. Why would you resign him? Gardner Johnson, you better hope he lives up to $8 million. What are you expecting the football team to be versus the run? NFL ranking wise. What are you expecting versus the run? Top 10? Top 20? Top 15? Jeff says 15. I'm with you, Jeff. Top 5? Top 15? Top 5? Absolutely not with that linebacking core. Absolutely not. Not anywhere near it. You don't have 34 linebackers. And if they're going to play a forefront, I don't really think you really have a lot of depth up front. I don't. But we'll see. But like I said, if you're 15th against the run in there, that's not horrible. You can win. You went to a Super Bowl 16th. And here's the other one. Pass defense. Top 5. 10. 15. You were 31st last year, by the way. Top 20? What are you looking at? Top 15. $13, $12 versus pass. Hopefully low teens. Depends how the rookies look. I expect them to at least look average around 12. I think Vic wants to put the best guy in a position. Will he override Howie's guys? I think you're going to have a conflict there. You all sound ignorant. JD is vital as a run stopper. He was pathetic last year. Jalen, if the Eagles pay Bradbury $12 million, could they package trade him and Ricks or a similar quality young DB? Dude, why would I trade for Bradbury when you're going to cut him? And then you can bid for him. I think the Eagles, by the way, if they get 15th in pass defense and 15th in run defense, in my opinion, that's a massive upgrade from a year ago. When you look at the collective group, you have a balanced defense. And with that offense that you're spending $200 million on, they better move the sticks. If the Philadelphia Eagles finish 15th in defense, and pass defense and rush defense, and your offense can't carry the mail, it's time to fire your quarterback. It's time to fire that guy. Because there's no excuses. The defense, and Vic would have done his job. He would have improved the unit and put him in the middle. Dude, you can win with a middle-of-the-road defense. Okay? You can win with that. If the defense can consistently get off the field, offense must sustain drives otherwise. And also, Sam, one of the most important things is what? Not put your defense in a shitty field position situation where you got 3 and outs and you're punting and the other football team drives the ball down the field on you. Absolutely. You've got to play smart ball this year. That's why I say this. Barkley's got to carry the ball a lot early in the year as the offense starts to pick up more, and you got to tenderize and start to send a trend compared to what you did a year ago. I think you got to run the football, man, as much as you possibly can in the first 4 weeks. The offense will come. It will. And you're paying. Hey, what was that quote? What was that quote? I think that general manager is the fucking stupidest general manager in pro football history. That guy, Joe Shonin, that runs the New York Giants, is a fucking idiot. We're not paying Daniel Jones $40 million to hand off to a $12 million running back. Can I tell you what that quote is? That's to cover his ass for his pathetic handling of the Barkley deal. You fucking moron. Are you crazy? You took away a safety net for Daniel Jones to be able to have play action pass. He does more than that. That guy helps you in play action and in pass protection, you fucking idiot. What an absolute train wreck of a guy. That thing's now on, what is it, Hard Knocks? He is a buffoon. He is a buffoon. Eskin pretends to be holy, but he's not. Hot water. He's in hot water now. He's banned for 1 year from the Phillies park. I saw that, Sean. Yeah, but Odyssey doesn't do anything about it. That guy, that general manager in New York, when I watch him on Netflix, Hard Knocks, he is a fool. He's a fool. You said Jordan was pathetic last season. That was their ranking before the collapse. Hey, dude, 17 football games. Your team decided what direction it was going to go in. It's a team effort. This is not tennis or golf, Prince. You're in it together. You don't get credit for half seasons. And you're evaluated on 17 weeks, Prince, not 6. Your organization decided to change. That's my bitch with the Eagles. Why? Well, guess what? We have no control of that. You ended up running that kid into the ground. That's a you thing, not me. That has nothing to do with reality. If you don't know how to coach the kids and you don't know how to coach the players, that's an Eagle thing. Well, they were good early, and then that's on you. That's on you. How do you know, Sills? I watched it. Did you not watch the same shit I did? Or wait, you've got to be some of these people that are trying to convince you what you saw last Thursday didn't really happen. Is that what that is too, Prince? Hey, Sills, what you saw last year in that 1-7 meltdown really didn't happen. Is that what he said? The guy, Joe Shonin, here, he had other comments. This guy tried to make an excuse for allowing Saquon Barkley to walk out the building for no compensation whatsoever and sit there and say, well, we're paying Daniel Jones $40 million not to hand the ball off. Bro, you're paying Daniel Jones to try to be able to win you games, and you're trying to put as many good players around him as possible. Either you think the quarterback's good or he's not. And you know what this comes down to? This comes down to them justifying that they fucked up paying him $40 million a year. Well, he couldn't do it. Then why'd you get rid of Barkley? Senor's right. Then you go out and you get that broken down jalopy Waller from the Raiders. You think you're adding a piece to that. You pay him $17 million. He's a piece of nothing. And you let Barkley walk out the building, and now you're trying to justify your bullshit. I mean, honest to God, man, the New York Giants are the most pathetic organization on the planet right now, and how they're – this guy, Joe Schoen, he makes Dave Gettleman look like Howie Roseman. Dave Gettleman sucked. I mean, Joe Schoen just shows you how not to run a fucking football team. He's the most pathetic general manager on the planet. He allows, like I said, Barkley to roll out the building, and he's trying to justify it on Hard Knocks by going, well, we paid Jones $40 million not to hand the ball off. Guy, how about trying to do this? Can you find a O-lineman? One O-lineman. One. In the last 10 years. You ended up getting a left tackle. It's taken you a decade to find that guy. And then you cut Barkley. Oh, that makes sense. I'll tell you what, the worst run organization in pro football, it's not the Patriots. Because you know what I'll take? I'll take 5 years of crappy-ass football and 6 Super Bowls any day. Any day. We're hoping to get Philly 500 today. If not, me and Mark are going to do an exercise today. Let me get this out here. Let's bring Mark Holmes in. The man, the myth, the legend.
Oh,
covers the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, dude, you know what? This is something I think we can all agree on. You covered the Cowboys. I covered the Eagles. That Giants team, bro, I mean, it's the worst run organization. I yearn for the days of Jerry Reese and Tom Coughlin.
They are a mess. They are really a mess. And, you know, it's funny. I haven't seen a Giant fan in quite a while. You know, I'm beginning to see some Commander fans that are coming out the woodwork. They feel like they've got some hope with Dan Quinn and everything else. I have not seen, other than Cop Pizzle, you know, sending me a picture of Daniel Jones saying he's the man. Other than that, I can't find Giant fans.
I mean, they have run that organization. They have buyer's remorse, and now they're trying to make excuses on why they didn't sign Barkley back. We don't want to pay a guy $40 million to hand a ball off to a guy at $12 million. Zeke was the highest paid running back at one time, and they were still paying Dak Prescott big money at the time too. I think you have to have if you want play action pass, Mark, you have to have a formidable running back for them to be able to bite on it on the other side. Because if you've got Rico Doodley or whoever that guy's name is, that ain't frightening me if I'm a linebacker on the other side of the football.
No, it's not. And that's where play action really comes in because, you know, for me, I'm a big 12 personnel type guy, okay? I like it that the thing with people back in the 90s, the Cowboys literally just had better personnel more than anybody else, and they were deep. They could literally just line up and just say, we're going to run right here and beat you. Now with free agency, everything is so watered down. There's really not that much difference between, you know, the bad teams and the really good teams. And this is where you got to be where they're not. You got to be able to disguise things. And you have to make them think that you have, you know, the semblance of a running game. You know, force a team to put 8 men in the box and then, boom, do some play action and be able to get easy pick-ins. You know, that's been kind of the problem with the Cowboys is, the last couple of years, you don't have that running ability like we've had in the past, especially in the playoffs, and that hurts you. And the Giants, I don't know what they're thinking because, you could use the Giants because everybody automatically thinks that because their team was a playoff team the last year, that they're automatically going to be good the following year.
I think that's a fluke. That 22 team was a fluke.
And exactly, because look at how they came out. They were just ass. And everybody thought Daniel Jones, he's finally arrived. Not really. He's sorry.
All right, Mark, let me do this here with you on your so it looks like CeeDee Lamb's going to hold out.
Yeah.
Going into training camp here. Are you really going to pay that guy more than you think that guy's Justin Jefferson?
Well, here's the thing. Well, it doesn't matter what you think or I think about it. The reality is it's the going rate. And the thing is, everybody has made a big stink and said you can't pay these guys that guys. I mean, honestly, though, have you actually
trading him?
Well, maybe. Well, if you do that, then you definitely are saying we're rebuilding. So the question is, are the Cowboys rebuilding? Or are they just crazy town and think that, because we're them boys, everybody's eventually going to bow down? But what we see with Cowboys is they always act like they're tough with contracts and we're not going to pay anybody. People hold out and then they get scared and then they make crazy contracts. Happened with Dak. Happened with CD. Or will happen with CD. It happened with Zeke. Happened with D-Law. It happened with Zach Martin. They always get the best of the Cowboys organization. It's just a matter of waiting game.
I think you trade him, and here's why. Because if you're not sold on what you're going to do at the quarterback position, if I'm CeeDee Lamb and that thing is so unstable on what you're going to do at that position, why in the world would I want to be stuck in a position like I am with Justin Jefferson? Now, unless you're chasing the bag of money and winning is not important to you, you stay in Dallas and you wait for the money to come to you. But if you're looking to really, and I made this point too, Mark, all these big-time wide receivers that are in the NFL, not one of them really, outside of Tyreek Hill, has won a Super Bowl. Why in the world am I going to invest? And most of them have been traded one or two or three times. Why in the world am I going to spend that kind of equity when I could build in my trenches, spend money on Micah if I want it? I'd rather keep the money on Micah. And, dude, I know this is going to sound shitty. But
you're in a shitty mood today, bro.
Well, because, because sometimes people look at certain things and they don't see the clarity in it. When you try to give them the truth, they have a problem with it. Like, look, here's Cat. Look, as much as I know who Dak Prescott is, okay? As much as I know who he is, okay? Well, I'm going to pay that guy. I'm going to pay him. I'm going to pay him because look, if I had a 70-year-old owner and I had an opportunity to do something like that, so what is he going to do? Rip the team down for Steven?
I listening to Clarence Hill, he was on with my man Law Nation.
By the way, he's a local sportscaster in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
He literally called him, it wasn't Clarence Hill. It was actually Brian Broaddus.
Okay.
Brian Broaddus was actually calling them crazy town because the Cowboys, the things that they're doing, none of it makes any sense whatsoever. To your point, big name wide receivers aren't winning Super Bowls. You know who else aren't actually winning them too? Big name running backs.
And big name quarterbacks.
Well,
here, get this.
Holmes is. Okay.
The top paid quarterbacks. Do you know in the top 10, there's only one quarterback that has won a Super Bowl? You know who that is? It's Mahomes.
Yeah, true.
And there's only two that have been there.
Yes. Well, there's a whole idea that once you pay a quarterback, you can't win. If that's the case, then nobody's going to win. Because
but Mark, you want to hear another one?
Yeah.
8 of the 10 have losing records in the playoffs.
Well, maybe there is something to that one. I can't look at the Cowboys and say it's just Dak. I have to look at the totality of everything that's been done since free agency began. And here's the crazy thing about it: whether they pay CD or don't pay CD, whether they pay Dak or don't pay Dak, whether they pay Micah or don't pay Micah, do you think the Cowboys are all of a sudden going to now go out here and Stephen Jones is going to spend a whole bunch of money on free agents?
No,
that's in his DNA.
It's not what they do.
It's not. So everybody's saying, "Oh, it's preventing them from doing stuff." Okay, this is bullshit. If you look at Justin Jefferson's contract, he came out same year as CD. They were both on their 5th-year contracts, right? Options. His contract is an $8 million hit this year, $15 million the next year, and then it goes up to 38 the 3rd year. Okay, as opposed to CD sitting here right now at 17.9. The Cowboys would actually save money the next 2 years doing CD. Now, I'm not going to justify one way or the other because, CD does have some growing up to do where he even admitted it. He disappears. But then again, I have to say maybe that it's not just CD, Dak, and Micah, that it's something going on with the Cowboys.
See, I like that cap friendly stuff for the next 3 years. I like that, Mark. I'm a fan of it because that's kind of what they did with Devontae.
Yeah.
They get that latitude for the next 3 years, and then it escalates up to $38 million. But I'm going to agree here with J215 Hood. $35 million you're going to pay. This guy ain't a guy on the numbers. This is a slot receiver, dude.
You know
really?
what?
That's a ton of cash for a guy in the slot.
Well, come next year, it's not. See, people keep thinking that this is a finite number. This is going to be the absolute ceiling. You know that these things change. When Dak got $40 million, you can't pay a quarterback $40 million. You wish you could pay a quarterback $40 million. And for everybody that's saying, oh, well, the Cowboys screwed up because they didn't get Dak and stuff done, actually, they could go through, and if they did a deal like Trevor Lawrence, although he's had the 5th-year option, his 2nd year is 15. The next year is 24, and then it's 38. The Cowboys could eat the 55 this year and basically take the 40, spread it out over those void years, and have a $25 million next year, a 35 the following if they want to do it. But I think it's just like Brian Broda said, it's crazy town. The Cowboys love all the drama. There is no reason whatsoever. You've seen enough leaves fall with CeeDee Lamb to know what the contract's going to cost. And if you're not going to sign him, then go ahead and just trade him and get this thing over with. If you're going to blow up the whole team, don't wait. Start Trey Lance now and find out, can he play?
How many first rounders do you think you can get for CD?
The way the Cowboys trade? Remember, we only got
let's just take a look at Devontae Adams. Take a look at some of the big guys that have been dealt in the past. Tyreek Hill and them guys. Dude, I mean, a lot of return. I only see one.
Talking about the
I don't see a ton of guys throwing 2-3 first rounders. I'm not putting up 2 first rounders for Lamb.
Here's the thing that happens with the Cowboys. They never get value when they trade a guy like Amari Cooper. That was tragic for a 5th round pick.
Was it 4th round of Cleveland?
It was a 5th. It was a 5th rounder.
And they gave up a 1 to the Raiders
to get him. Okay. Now, on the flip side, the 49ers don't want to do us any favors. They didn't. You think the 49ers really wanted to trade Trey Lance to us?
No
but
way.
The Cowboys blew all everybody. Nobody else is offering more than a 6. Cowboys offer a 4th. We always pay too much, and we never get anything back in return. So if you're saying, let's trade CD, I would hope that they would get at least to 1, but I wouldn't guarantee that the Cowboys would with the way they trade. I love my Cowboys. I am a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, but sometimes I have to look and say, Stephen Jones, you guys are telling me you can't hire an expert that understands contracts better than the shit that you guys do?
This is where Howie and the Eagles have the advantage over you.
You are the ones. Don't get mad at the player, Dak Prescott, because they fleeced you on the contract.
Get mad at the game.
Be mad at the guy who sat here and did these contracts. You literally sat there and said, we're not going to reset the market with Zeke Elliott. And he stood there in Cabo, stood you down, and then you screwed the pooch on it. And then everybody wants to be mad at Zeke Elliott. They're the ones that
just reminds me of Emmett. Emmett held those 2 games out and went like this.
And showed
see how you are. And they were 0-2. And they came running back to him. Hey, Mark, listen, I want to get to this. You want to play a game here?
Yes, I do, because I
did this with Xander yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He is a diehard Eagle fan, and I want to get a Cowboy perspective. And what I'm going to do here, I'm not asking you how many wins the Cowboys have this year. I'm not asking you head-to-head anything. What I'm asking you, I am head-to-head. I'm asking you player for player at every position, who has the advantage at this respected position. Do you want to do offense or defense first?
Let's go defense.
Okay, let's go defense. DeMarcus Lawrence or Milton Williams?
I'm going to take D-Law.
Okay, hold on here now. Okay, Dallas.
Great run
Philly.
stop.
And we're going to go advantage. We're going to add them up at the end.
Okay.
You think DeMarcus Lawrence over Milton Williams? I happen to agree with that one too. I think DeMarcus Lawrence is a better football player. I think he's shown it, and he's been a more consistent player over that time frame as well.
The only thing you have to worry about on that is he going to hit the wall, because he is getting up there in age.
I think he's 32, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is. But still has been, he gets a big knock because he doesn't have a lot of the sacks, but he's one of your better run-stopping defensive ends.
Jordan Davis or Chauncey Golston?
Okay. I'm not going to say that Jordan Davis is, great, but right now I have to take Jordan Davis. Thing with Jordan Davis, though, is you still have to worry about his stamina, Golston has played a bit. He doesn't have quite the size that Jordan Davis does, but he'll get more of an opportunity. I still think he's going to be a good player.
Folks, that was kind of a trick in a way. Mark is going to be objective here. I'm liking this out of the gate here. Okay. Jaylen Carter. How do you say that kid's name? Ozzy what?
Indigazua.
Who do you got there?
I'm going to take Osa Indigazua. He's a little bit undersized, but he was a wrestler in college. Incredible wrestler. Has great hands and good speed. Jaylen Carter.
I think that guy's going to be an all-pro this year.
What, Osa?
No.
Or Jaylen Carter?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Jaylen Carter is going to be the next Jerome Brown.
Okay.
Let me tell you this. If Zazie, what's his name? Zazie Smith. What's his name? What's the guy with the 2 bricks?
Come on, man.
The 2 bricks.
Leave Mozzie alone. Leave him alone.
So wait a minute here. Okay, so you have Ozzy over Jaylen Carter. Guys, hold on here. I'm not gonna dispute it. This is his call. Okay. Micah Parsons versus Bryce Huff.
Micah. Come on, man.
I'm not. We're going here with you.
Now, if this is Philly 500 on here right now, everybody would have been Eagles.
Hey,
go ahead.
That's why we're getting a different perspective here. Okay. Inside linebacker, Nakobe Dean versus Damon Clark.
Damon Clark. Damon Clark had about 103 tackles last year, but yeah, right. But the problem with us was we were literally going downhill. A lot of that was in chasing. He's a little bit on the undersize, but
straw is better than Nakobe Dean.
I was going to say Nakobe, he's had a lot of potential, and a lot of, Philly 500 said he was going to be all pro and lead the team in tackles last year. Just saying.
Devin White or Eric Kendricks?
That's going to be an interesting one. The question will be is how much has Eric Kendricks lost with his age? Potentially, I think you got that one. But in a whole, we will be a lot better at linebacker than we were last year than having a safety.
Now, again, I get we're not doing group settings. We're going position. Yeah. Okay, so you got Philly with that position there with Devin White. But
it's not night and day. I got to give you something. I got to toss you a bone.
Okay. Maris Laflua?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now we got to start this bad dog over now.
But it's probably going to be Overshown will probably be the starter instead of than
we got to start this over because
why?
Parachuting in to fight for his Eagles.
Who is? Oh, Philly 500.
the legendary Philly 500.
Lordy.
I had to come on. This guy's a liar. This guy's a liar. I never, ever said Nakobe Dean would lead the team in tackles.
Oh
you need to show the timestamp because once again, you are making things up. This is what this guy does. He makes shit up. I never said that. Ever said that.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Wait. Let's start this exercise over. And I think now this is going to be one of the greatest debates. And it will be far better than that shit thing we saw last Thursday. I know the side of the aisle you're on, Mark. Hey, you know what? Hey, just remember, end of quote. That's all I'll say. So we will sit here and let's go. Let's start this bad puppy over. He wants to start on defense, and we're going to go Philly 500, position for position, not groupings, not how many wins. We're going to go with this. Who has the advantage? We're going to start with defense.
Okay.
He's Marcus Lawrence over Milton Williams. Would you take
Milton Williams? Why Milton Williams?
Or Marcus Lawrence?
Milton Williams isn't starter.
No. Who would you take? Who has the advantage here?
Oh, you're comparing DeMarcus Lawrence, a starter versus a backup rotational defensive.
We're going through
tackle.
the potential.
You have to go DeMarcus Lawrence over the backup defensive lineman.
I still think he's going to have a great year this year.
He is. I like him too, but he's not.
I agree.
Start.
Okay. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Next one.
Okay.
He took Chauncey Golston over Jordan Davis.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I did not.
Okay. All right. So you took Jordan Davis.
I told you Jordan Davis. I said Jordan Davis has to still work on his stamina. And that Golston actually hasn't had that much time out there on the field.
Oh, that's right. Wait a minute, Philly.
Look at that. Wait a minute.
He took OC. What's the kid's name?
Indigazua.
Over Jaylen Carter.
Okay.
Mark just said, I'd rather have a McDonald's cheeseburger over a filet mignon. That's what he just said. Jaylen Carter. It's not even close.
I pulled a Philly 500 on that one there.
Not even close. Not even close.
Go on.
Micah Parsons versus Bryce Huff.
Micah.
Parsons.
Future Eagle. Go ahead and say it, Philly. You know you want to.
Oh, yeah. Future Eagle Micah Parsons. I'll take him.
Damon Clark versus Nakobe Dean.
Damone Clark.
I'll give Clark.
Devin White versus Eric Kendricks.
You better give Kendricks 2-3 canes, a wheelchair. He's old. Devin White will rebound. Devin White will be an all-pro. Devin White's going to show it up this year. Devin White.
I believe that's what I gave you, too, didn't I? I said Devin White.
He did. Thank God Philly 500 came in here to
wait a minute.
To save this shitty show.
Oh, man. You know, you ain't got to have me on here, bro.
Don't get all butthurt here, kid. I'm not saying Philly 500. Wait a minute. You're starting to really start to look at here a little bit where you get a little butthurt. Man.
I didn't say anything rude. I haven't been rude yet.
No, he hasn't actually. It's been me more so.
So people won't enjoy this. But go ahead.
Nolan Smith versus what's the kid's name? Mariza Lafufa? But you say there'll be someone else in there.
He probably, he's a rookie. So, I mean, you've got more experience, of course, on your side. But, I'd take a ham sandwich over him.
Okay.
Well, I don't know much about who they have there. So I can only go on what I know about Nolan Smith. And if it's a rookie versus a guy who's at least got a sack in the league, I'll go Nolan Smith right here.
Mm-hmm.
But I could say push. I'd be okay with a push.
I'd be okay.
I think Nolan Smith has to prove himself, right? I mean, he does. Yeah. And I think he's got a lot of talent, but we got to see it on the field.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, you're on the side of the ball here, dude, that has your advantage. We haven't even got to the offense yet here, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Left cornerback, Quinyon Mitchell versus Deron Bland.
I'll take Bland. Bland, although here's the thing about Bland. I'm going to be real with you. Is a guy who is a pick magnet. he still has a lot of work to do in his coverage skills. He does get beat quite a bit.
Let me ask you something here. It's a great take. Let me ask you this though: if you took those 6 picks away, those picks that he took back to the house for 6, what kind of corner is he?
Average.
Okay. Now this kid, the only reason you get the advantage, in my opinion, Philly, is because the kid hasn't played an NFL down in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I don't even know if once again, I don't even know if he's starting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more Isaiah Rodgers out there.
And I would go Isaiah Rodgers over him. But, when you want to say rookie, it's hard for me to judge a rookie that hasn't played one snap,
Oh, man. I've got people over here commenting that, Philly 500's on here. I'm out.
Hey.
All right. They can't take the truth. Go run hide. Go ahead. Because I'll be drinking Cowboys tears, you little snowflakes over there.
Strong safety, Gardner Johnson versus, what's his name? Damon Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
CJ Gardner Johnson. I'm taking CJ Gardner Johnson. I got Johnson. Why do you have
Wilson, Mark?
Because I just hate the Eagles.
Okay.
No. You've got CJ on that one. Donovan Wilson.
Okay. Free safety, Blankenship versus Malik Hooker.
I've got Malik Hooker on that one.
I do
too.
Hooker.
Hooker's fair. It's fair.
Hey, so what's up with the bitching between him and Micah, man? Are these two girls going to be okay?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that, the way you ask a question, you kind of get set up. But it's not something that a lot of people haven't thought and said, including myself, that, are you a YouTuber? Are you a blogger? Are you a linebacker?
No, he's a Dallas Cowboy. He's a TV star.
Well,
that's what he is.
All
right. Darius Slay, Tyron Diggs.
Diggs, I will take. Now, the question on Diggs will be will he be ready to start the season? And what kind of shape will he be in?
I'm going Darius Slay. I'm going Slay. For this 1 year, I'm going Darius Slay. Coming back from a torn ACL, we know guys are never quite right that first year back. So I'm going to go Darius Slay, and I'm going to base it upon the injury. If Diggs wasn't injured, I would go Diggs, to be honest. But Slay is healthy. Diggs has come back from an injury.
This is going to be probably one of the better segments here that we've done so far, because now we're going offense. We're going to start with the quarterback. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. Who has the advantage?
Dak.
Jalen Hurts.
Mark, why do the Cowboys have the advantage here?
I'm going to say because you have stability as far as the offensive play calling. You're going into the same system the second year in a row. You have the unknowns of now a new play caller, and you're going to have that starting of the season. That's not to say your offense won't be really, really good by the time the season ends after you've played in it. But we all know the way football is now, you're not really full speed till really week 1 or a preseason game. And Hurts is not going to play any preseason games. So those first 3 or 4 games are going to be really working on timing and getting this offense down. And you can see how the Cowboys offense, until the bye week, we really didn't get in gear. In fact, we were saying, damn, maybe we should have kept Kellen more.
Billy, why is Jalen the advantage with the Eagles?
I have it for several reasons. First off, the Eagles have a better all-around offense, I believe. So he has way more pieces around him. One of the pieces he has that I don't think Dak Prescott does have is the running game. And I think defenses are not going to respect the running game of the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to pin their ears and they're going to go after Dak. So I think even though they didn't have a great running game last year, Pollard still was some sort of threat. So for those reasons, I like Jalen Hurts. Plus, the biggest thing of them all is if it's the fourth quarter of a game in the playoffs, 2 minutes, Eagles down by 4, I trust Jalen Hurts to go win the game much more than I would Dak Prescott in a big moment. He can talk about the first 3 weeks of the season, but it's the end of the season that I care about. And Dak has never shown up when it matters most.
I do give a little bit of this, though. Dak's coming back in the same system where he led the NFL in TD pass.
He is.
That's gotta That's got to matter something a little bit.
I think it does. And I think it matters early in the year, like Mark said. I think, but end of the year, it's a different story. And if the Eagles are smart and they use Saquon Barkley while they're trying to get adjusted to the offense, they'll be fine. But Dak Prescott in the big game, in the big moment, I have no faith in as much as I have in Kirk Cousins.
Ooh.
What? That's not a shot. I'm not making a shot.
I hear you talking. Okay.
You and Dak are kind of the same guy.
They're the same thing. They're the same guy.
Okay. Well, we'll see what your guy is this year, bro.
Wait.
He left you one.
Look how defensive he's getting. Look, all I said was the truth. The truth.
I got to admit, man, you do get a little bit like angst over anybody that barks about your boy, man. You know what I mean? It's true. That's your boy.
Let me give you the real deal, man. Coming on this show, I get flack and hate from my own people. How dare you cozying up with them mother humpers and everything else? You're not. Really
I don't think you're cozying up.
You are an Eagle fan. Man, it's like, dudes. The best thing you can do is know your enemy.
Yeah. All right. Barkley or that relic Zeke?
Barkley. It's not even
I
close.
have to give you Barkley, but Barkley has a propensity of starting out the season really good and tailing off as the season goes on.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Yeah, when you play for the New York Giants and you have nothing around you, that tends to happen.
We'll see. Okay.
I mean, just think, a team that stinks with the starters already has any injuries is going to be really, really bad by the end of the year.
Okay, we'll give you that one. This is true. We can actually agree on something. The Giants suck ass.
They do.
Oh, boy. Giants! What a bunch of morons!
Hey, that thing on Hard Knocks, man. It just exposed that Joe Schoenen, man. He's terrible. What a terrible general manager. Now, this one's going to be interesting. Now, look, I know AJ's on the numbers, and I know CeeDee's in the slot, but these are the playmakers. AJ Brown or CeeDee Lamb? Who has the advantage here between these two players?
CeeDee.
Philly?
AJ Brown. It's not even close.
Mark, why does CeeDee have the advantage?
Come on, CeeDee. Again, we started out that season, the first 5 games, we were ass on offense. It was literally the defense was scoring points left and right. Once they got into gear, and because you'll remember, I believe it was A.J. Brown had like 3 games of 125 yards a game, and they were talking about, oh, my God, how incredible it was. And then CeeDee had 4 games of like 150 in a row. I just look at that and say that he is – because here's the thing. When I look at the Cowboys offense, it was basically CeeDee Lamb. It wasn't a good running game. Tony Pollard barely got 1,000 yards, and I don't know how he actually got those because it sucked. And Brandon Cooks was like 1,000 yards behind him, and you had Jake Ferguson. So for him to be able to be the guy that you had to stop and still made those plays, when I look at the Eagles, I have to give you credit because you got Devontae Smith, you've got Dallas Goedert, you've got a decent running game, you've got a quarterback who can run, you've got all these other things. You're not getting all the double teams and all the attentions constantly that CeeDee Lamb was.
That's quite a diatribe to tell me why you think CeeDee's more of an advantage than AJ. When I look at both guys and go, can you imagine AJ Brown in the slot? Your guy goes against guys who run 4.8s.
Whose fault? Okay, and whose fault is that? Then put your guy in the slot.
Okay, that is true. That's on the coordinator.
That's on the coordinator. If your coordinator says, "Oh well, I'm not going to put him in the slot because he's going to be a mismatch," well, then you're stupid. Then your coordinator's a freaking idiot. If I know I have an advantage that's going to cook the guys and make my guy good, then I'll do that. Come on.
Who is
AJ Brown, and he just answered the own question. Oh, you don't have a coordinator. If a coordinator's not putting him in the best position, that's on the coordinator. That's right. Despite not having a coordinator or anybody that knew how to put AJ Brown in places and move him around and put him in situations to get even more open, he goes out there and he produces anyways. Even though he has way less targets than CeeDee Lamb's going to get.
Okay.
he still gets his numbers. A.J. Brown after the catch, A.J. Brown on the outside, A.J. Brown on the slot. I don't care where you put him. To me, I don't know that CeeDee Lamb is the same player on the outside that he is in the slot. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but A.J. Brown, I'll take any day over.
Mark, I really don't see CD a lot in the numbers here. Learning a new offense. This is from Rob. Rob, thank you. Learning a new offense is nothing new for Jalen Hurts. Still been to the playoffs the last 3 seasons, a Super Bowl, and learning a new offense every season since he's been drafted. So, I mean,
Moore's.
Well, but it's still a new. It is still a new one. Loving the debates. You guys are killing it right here. All right, Devontae Smith versus Brandon Cooks. Come on, man. This is not a debate.
Not even close.
Yeah, go on. Next.
No, I'll put Devontae Smith up against CeeDee Lamb. Hell with it. You know what I mean? My man Devontae Smith.
Put down the crack pipe, man.
Yeah.
Put him out. Really 500. You'll take Devontae.
I'll take Devontae Smith
over
right
CD.
Over Lamb. That's right. My man Devontae Smith's going to have a monster year this year. You watch.
Okay.
You all watch.
We'll watch. Just like
Harris Campbell in the 3-hole versus Jalen Tolbert, Cowboys.
I'll take Campbell. I'll take
Tolbert. I don't think there's much difference between the two.
I don't either. I think it's a
really
push.
Don't.
This is going to be an interesting one because I actually like your guy, Mark. Jake Ferguson versus Dallas Goedert. Now, personally, but wait, now, Philly, before you get upset with me,
look,
listen, I think he's a better talent, but you've got to be reliable too.
Yeah.
You've got to be on the field. This kid Ferguson was a target last year, and he ended up having a better season than Dallas Goedert. Now, are you going to go with productivity or are you going to go with availability? You know, you could tell me in Philly, you could tell me Goddard's better. I agree. But, dude, you got to play too, man. You got to be on the ball field for me to sit there and go, you're actually better than that guy.
Yeah, but going into the season, I can't factor in injuries that haven't occurred yet. So I agree with you that if Dallas Goedert isn't healthy, you have to go the other way. But I can't judge this thing assuming that Dallas Goedert's going to get hurt. I just have to judge it on talent alone. And that's why I have to go Dallas Goedert.
How about you, Mark?
I'm going to actually take Jake Ferguson because typically tight ends is a position that usually it takes a couple of years before you really hit your stride. Most of your really great ones really weren't that good to start out their career. And I feel like there's a whole lot more upside with Jake Ferguson, and he was becoming that security blanket for Dak Prescott going down the stretch. And again, you know, I know you're now saying availability and stuff, but you actually have to look at Dallas Goedert and say he is getting older and he is beginning to get nicked up more. So I will take Jake Ferguson.
No, he's got to stay healthy. I agree with that.
And Philly's right. I mean, assuming injuries is something that you shouldn't do. The only problem is his trend has been the last 5 years he's missed ball games.
Yeah, I agree.
But I agree. You can't assume that he's not going to not play 17 ball games this year. All right. In the O-line, this is going to be a little bit interesting and more interesting than what I thought here. Disciple says this first. Mark, can Ferguson be better than Jason Witten?
I think he can because I think Jason Witten was an incredible player. But Jason Witten,
he was a pass catcher, not a complete tight end.
He was a good blocker. He wasn't exceptional by any stretch of the imagination. And later in his career, when we started, the teams actually kind of let him be the guy to go against, as opposed to saying, you know, if we have Amari Cooper, you know, Amari Cooper can take it to the house. At some point, you had boy, I can't even think of his name right now. You looked at it and said, pick your poison. Jason Witten is not going to break any tackles. And so he had a lot more numbers than maybe should have been the last 3 or 4 years of his career. But I think
he's not Jay Novacek.
No. And I think potentially that Jake Ferguson could actually be a really, really good one.
Let's get in the old lines here. Jordan Mailata, left tackle versus Tyler Guyton. Who do you got, Mark?
We don't even know what Tyler Guyton's going to be. We don't. I mean, I can't. You got to give you Mailata on that.
I think Mailata's the best skilled get this, not skilled. I think Mulata's the best athlete on the team.
Mm-hmm.
6'8", 380 pounds.
Yeah, I mean,
Runs like 5 flat 40s.
I'm a homer, but I can't take that one right now.
He's 6'8".
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, have you been surprised, Philly 500, with how much that he's improved? Like, he's now the second highest paid left tackle in the league.
Yeah. I mean, what a gem he was. I really think
Seventh
they
rounder,
could've-
Mark.
Seventh rounder, yeah. I think they could have gotten him on the field 2 years early if they really wanted to. But he keeps getting better and better. You got to love Jordan Mailata. I absolutely love him.
2024, Dak running for his life has no run game. Defense
No
will
run
pin
game.
back ears against those tackles.
Absolutely.
We'll
No
make
threat.
8 game before you decide to ride the pine.
I hate to tell you, we didn't have a running game last year, and
You had a threat of a run game, though. You had at least a threat of a run game.
No, we did not. No.
You
Well,
did. People
Tony
at
Pollard
least
had a great
respected
last year.
Pollard.
Cowboys,
People respected Pollard. They have no respect
not
for
between
Zeke
the
right
tackles,
now.
bro. Not
Come on.
dude. Literally looked scared to go between the tackles. That was
Dallas is going to have some ugly fourth quarters. You're going to lose some games in that fourth
Tony
quarter
Pollard trying to
because you
touch
can't
the guy
kill the clock.
on the goal line and couldn't get in. Sorry, I'm not giving you that
one play.
Our running game was ass.
You better not get behind in games this year, or you'll be blown out this year.
It's even worse, Mark. It's even worse this year. It's not better. It's
at
worse.
least he can hit. He can hit the hole at least for
You
your
can hit
short
the
yard.
donut hole. That's about it.
Oh, okay.
Left guard here. Landon Dickerson versus Tyler Smith.
Landon Dickerson.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson's one of the most underrated players in the National Football League.
Lord.
Philly
And
500.
if Landon Dickerson
first team All Pro.
well, you know what? Every Cowboy gets a 10%
you are such a
boost
freaking
into
homer,
All
bro.
Pro. I'm sorry. No. If Landon
No.
Dickerson was
No.
a Dallas Cowboy, he would
No.
be considered the greatest left guard to play in the last 30 years. I'll take Landon Dickerson.
Tyler Smith was first team
Okay,
All
it's a
Pro.
hell of a job.
Dallas, All Pro's a popularity contest.
No, wait.
That means
Pro
nothing
Bowl
to
is.
me.
All Pro's
Come
the
on.
best in the game.
Dallas always gets a 10% jump on any of those things.
Oh my God!
I'll take Landon Dickerson right now.
Of course you
I
will.
stand by it.
Of
I
course
stand
you
by
will.
that. And you know what? If he was a Dallas Cowboy, he would be the greatest left guard to ever play right now. Let me tell you, I think Landon Dickerson's underrated. I think he's one of the biggest underrated, but he is. You can't even acknowge it.
Full of shit, man. Come on.
You can't even acknowledge how good he is. You prove my point.
How about this, Mark? He's the highest paid guard in the league now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's not for no
I've got
reason.
a young guy who's still on his rookie contract.
Yeah, he'll be holding out soon.
Cam Jurgens. I put Cooper Beebe in there because this other guy, I think Cooper Beebe's going to beat him out, and I like the kid, but I got to go with Jurgens here because I think Jurgens is the better ball player here, and I think Jurgens is going to make the Pro Bowl, actually.
Yeah, I'm with you on Jurgens.
I mean, I have to give you that one because how can I take a rookie, a guy who has yet to play a snap? But I see a hell of a lot of potential with Cooper Beebe. That guy, he started out as a defensive lineman and got moved into the offensive line.
He reminds me of Linderbaum.
Every spot on the offensive line.
Hey, he reminds me of Linderbaum.
Mm-hmm.
You know the guy in Baltimore? He reminds me of that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was Dallas's. He was their best pick. He was their best pick last year.
He was.
I like him.
We traded back and got that extra pick to get him. That's the thing. If it ends up working out that Tyler Guyton is another guy that's 6'8". We'll see what we have there. But starting out as a left tackle, that's you got a bad learning curve, of course, starting out.
Right guard Tyler Steen versus Zach Martin.
Zach Martin. But go ahead. Oh, really? You're gonna finally give me one? Okay.
Well, I'll give you one that you deserve. I'm not going to give you one that you don't deserve. I give you what you deserve. Zach Martin's fair.
Can I at least have the guards? I'm giving you the rest of the offensive line.
I can't give you. I'm telling you, Landon Dickerson to me is one of the most underrated players in the league. I can't do it.
Here you.
Hey,
okay.
You do get Mark. I think you get the guards.
I get.
But get this.
Stills gives you them. I can't.
Wait a minute. To his point, though, the difference between Dickerson and Smith, dude, it's like this. It's razor thin. It's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's not the
No,
Grand
it's
Canyon
right.
or anything like
If
that.
you're a football team, you're happy with having either of them.
No,
How
but
about-
wait a
I
minute.
agree.
Yeah. But get this. This is where they get you as a group to have the tackles. They get you in the because look, Lane Johnson or Terrence Steele. Come on, man.
Lane Johnson.
Is that really a question?
No, it's not actually.
Yeah, you think Becton? Do you think Becton works into that right guard spot? Does he got a chance? Because this could turn that with Stoutland. If Stoutland could mold him and get him to play, this could turn into a complete steal for the Eagles.
How about? Oh, I think he's going to be the sign of the offseason even greater than what Saquon is, and I'll tell you why.
Wow.
He is what I've heard from Boomer Esiason, what I heard from Phil Simms, who came on this program, and even what's his name, Baldinger. Brian Baldinger came on, and Brian Baldinger has the affordability of being a former Cowboy and Eagle, and he said this. He goes, "That kid is in shape right now, like I've never seen, and because of Jeff Stoutland, he feels comfortable." Philly over at the left side. Would they ever contemplate moving Landon over to the right side?
Wow.
Putting him. Now get this. Hey, Mark, you would have 6'8" at left tackle, 6'7" at left guard, 6'3" at center, 6'6" or 6'5" at right guard, and 6'7". I mean, Jalen Hurts would need a step stool to look over that thing. That would be the biggest offensive line in pro football.
Yeah, it would.
Oh, look at you, man. Hey, you know what? You have good guards, but don't go killing yourself over it because they got a great-looking group.
Okay. Yes, they do. I've always said you guys have had a great offensive line, which is one of the reasons why your quarterback has had such success with being such a great running back.
It's one of the reasons why my quarterback's in a better situation than your quarterback right now.
Oh, by far.
Somehow, with a bad offensive line and a lacking running game.
How could you have a bad offensive line when you got the guard advantage here?
We got too good, yeah. But now keep in mind that Tyler, it was only his second year.
I think he's a really good ball player. I do.
Yeah.
He is a good ball player.
Billy,
he's a good ball player. I don't think he's a bad ball player.
Billy, you got a little bit of time here. I want to ask you a couple things here. I got a couple things from Atlantic City that came in here. Mark, I want you to comment on it too.
Okay.
So they came in on the Eagle guys over under. And Mark, I'm going to go to you first here on this. Jalen Hurts over under 22 touchdown passes. Now remember, he had 21 the year before, and he had 23 this last season.
Year. With Kellen Moore, probably that's a tough one because you got Barkley, who may end up being more of a red zone threat. But with Kellen Moore as the coordinator, I'll actually say more than the 22.
What about you, Philly?
Over.
Easy over. What number are you landing on when you say over?
28 to 30.
Wow.
28 to 30 touchdowns.
25. 25.
I think around 30. I think his rushing numbers come down some and his passing numbers go up. And I think some of that is going to be having Barkley, throw a nice little screen, going to Barkley out of backfield is going to help him. But I think he's going to have close to 30 touchdown passes.
Mark, what about this one from Atlantic City? Saquon Barkley rushes over under 1,265 yards.
Under. They're not. You guys aren't going to have him carry the load. If you have him running that much,
I think they've got to decide: do they want to be a run team or do they want to be a pass team? Philly, over under on that.
Over. I really think it. I think he's right around. I think he's right around 1,200 to 1,400, somewhere in that range is where I have him. So I'll go over.
If he does,
but
he's
that means 275 carries. You're talking.
I think they're going to use him a lot more than people think they are. I don't think they're going to use him like Miles Sanders. I don't think they're going to use him like DeAndre Swift. I think they're going to use him like a 3-down back. I think he's going to be more active and more part of this offense than people realize.
Hey, Mark, over under on Dak, 33 touchdown passes.
Over.
Under.
Had 36 last year. Led the league.
Mm-hmm.
Why do
Over.
you think more with less around him?
Because, see, here's the thing. Everybody is making a lot about the Cowboys running game and Zeke Elliott, but Mike McCarthy is not a big running coach. He likes to go ahead and hit.
Well, we could tell.
No, seriously. You can laugh all you want or anything, but this is the truth. He wants to have multiple targets out there to catch the football. Jake Ferguson is definitely becoming a red zone target and a guy that is becoming that best friend. Brandon Cooks will be better this year being in the same system and so forth. Also, with having CeeDee Lamb there in OTAs, has had more work with Dak Prescott. You're looking at the Cowboys being more of a passing team than the running team that you guys are.
Yeah, you have to. They don't have a running game. You can't even use your running back out of backfield. No, I think it's under 33. I think he goes down. He's got less talent. And here's the other thing you got to consider: if CeeDee Lamb's a holdout, and let's say he holds out all of preseason, and then he comes in, he's going to be on a limited snap count the first few weeks. It's going to take him a month to get his feet under him, so that's going to hurt your offense too. So I think Dak. I think he's under 33 touchdown passes. I think Dallas is coming to there. I think this is a reckoning year for the Dallas Cowboys.
I always hear that, but somehow the Cowboys are always somewhere near the top in scoring.
You act like they do something. You lose every year in the first round of the playoffs.
But we got rid of Amari Cooper. That everybody said that's a death knell for the offense. I'm sorry,
and it was.
At some point, you have to look and say, you know what, the Cowboys' offense actually isn't as bad as we think. I mean, how many? Nobody's
saying they're bad.
Yes, you are.
I'm just saying they're not as good as they were last year.
Bro.
That's all I'm saying. They're not as good. Do you really look at your offense and think
at least the personnel you got to agree with him on is not?
I don't see where Dallas looks so one-dimensional to me. It's not even funny.
No, let's look at it. Here's what we lost: Tony Pollard, who was not as effective because he is an outside runner. You tried to make him.
I love how he tells you what they lost and then he explains why it's a benefit to you. Just tell us who you lost. Just say the name.
Pollard, and we exchanged him with Zeke. That's not a major letdown.
That's a major downgrade.
Tyron Smith
needs a wheelchair.
Year after year after year. Last year was the first time he actually had more than 10 games since 2015. 2016, 17. Okay? So we've been used to having him not there. Biotish was never a great center.
Oh,
who else did we lose? Who else did we lose?
Look at that.
What do you have
here?
What do you have to receive?
Okay. It's okay. So if you guys are correct, then I should be saying, well, my team, we lost so much. So, don't expect us to do anything. I'm here actually saying we didn't lose as much as you guys think. I think they're going to be better than what you guys think.
I know. And I'm saying you're not.
Here's the last
we'll
one.
Reevaluate at the end of the year then, bro.
Oh,
here's the last
right
one.
after that playoff loss, we will reevaluate.
Speaking of that, how many playoff wins first do the Eagles have over under 1 playoff wins? Mark?
Under. I got you guys 9 on the season.
Philly, how many playoff wins do they have over under 1?
Over.
How many?
I got him in the NFC champ. I got him in the NFC championship game. So I have at least 2 wins.
Homer.
I have at least. If I was a homer, I'd just say they're going to win the whole thing. I'm saying NFC championship.
You mean
how many wins do the Cowboys have in the postseason? Over under 1.
Over.
That's the biggest joke in the history of jokes. Mark does look. He's laughing. Mark Sills, he even knows he's full of shit.
Mark,
look
when's
at
the
him.
last time you
He's
had
laughing.
a win in the postseason? How many years ago?
2 years ago, bro.
How many?
2
0.
years ago.
I could tell you if that's really the odds out there. If you want to be rich, go bet that. Go bet the under. That's about the surest bet that you'll ever make in the history of sports. Take the under because they're going to win a game.
I hear you.
Hey, Mark, When do you guys report to training camp?
They report on the 23rd, official openings the 24th. I land in LA on the 4th, and I'll be there through the 12th. And I think Thursday the 8th is when they practice against the Rams. And I'm hoping that I am seeing you.
Yep.
We know you're not going to be there, Philly. And it's okay.
He'll be there. If he's not, he'll be there remote.
Yeah,
I'll be there remote.
Yeah, well, that's what we'll do. We'll put a camera out there and we'll get a feed. What we may need some help from you on that one, Dan, because everywhere the Cowboys are, the internet is ass. So,
is it at the Rams complex or is it at the Cowboy complex? I thought it was at the Rams place.
Ooh, that's a good question.
I think it's at the Rams place, and if it's at the Rams place, I'm hooked up big time over there. I know them folks.
You know what? I don't know, but you're probably right that it will be at the Rams facility.
I think it's at the Rams place over there. So that place is
too bad CD won't be there. Maybe he can call in remote too. Maybe CD call in remote.
I'll tell you what, Dan, you work that one out and figure out if that is going to be in LA or not.
Can I ask one last question here on the way out the door? What separates your fans versus Philly 500's fans? Why are Cowboy fans, in your opinion, better than Eagle fans?
You know what? I'm not going to say that either of them are better than the other. We both die with our
team.
Wow,
do you sound like a Democrat?
I'm sorry. No, I know. Being a fan is short for being a fanatic.
Oh.
I am crazy about my team. I love my team. Now,
nobody in Philly would answer a question like this. Well, here's what we do. We like both sides of the aisle here, and I like pancakes and I like cheeseburgers. We're really great. Dude, I go like this. I fucking hate the Gators. I hope that place implodes. I hope that place never has any success. I hope that place dries up in running water.
Kiss my ass. And by the way, if you ever try it, do a pancake with a burger on it. Okay, I had that on a cruise. That shit is good.
The first time I went over to in downtown LA, man, I had the bagels and I had the waffles and chicken. It was absolutely sensational, man.
Oh yeah, in LA you got lots of
Philly. What separates Philly? I don't want to hear. For what happens? What separates Philly Eagle fans from Cowboy fans?
The big thing with the Eagle fans is that despite all the years of losing and the fog bowl and all the bad things that happen, we're there every day. We show up every day, no matter what. We support our team. It's in our DNA. It's a family heirloom. It's passed down from your family. You're an Eagle fan. You're born into it. And for Eagle fans, despite all the bad that's happened and only having one ring and having to wait 50-something years, we're there every day, win or lose. And you can't say that about Cowboy fans when most of their fan base isn't even from Dallas or has no connection to the city. They're only fans of the Cowboys because they've won 5 Super Bowls and they thought it would be cool to be with the winner. No. We're there despite everything bad that has happened. I've seen a lot of losing, Phils, growing up. I've seen a lot of torture, a lot of crazy things. And you know what? I stuck with this team no matter what. I bleed with them. I die with them. That's the difference.
Bro, kiss my high yellow hind parts. Okay?
How's it? How are you doing there? How are you doing it? How are you doing in Texas over there?
Believe me, bro.
Oh no, you're in Virginia. That's right.
Fall out of my chair, losing in the playoffs, and I'm here in a Philadelphia Eagles
but
channel.
You became a fan when they won what? 3 Super Bowls in the 70s and then the 90s. It was easy for you. That was easy. Try the Fog Bowl. Try watching Cunningham go down week 1. You watch what happened to Jerome. Watch Reggie Lee. Don't give me that shit.
That's Cowboys silver right there, okay? I was born in this shit as well. Back in the 60s, when we were losing to the freaking Green Bay Packers in the goddamn Ice Bowl. I hate the damn Packers.
Half your fan base is only fans because they won, and they could say, "Oh, we have 5 rings." That's the truth.
It's a good thing you're not
That's
coming.
Right.
because I'd knock the shit out.
I don't care because I'm right. You can't catch me. You can't see me. You can't see me.
All right.
You can't. Hey, my dad say, "Hey, Mark, 6 months in the hospital is sure death. Which one you want?"
4th of July week.
We need
Okay,
football.
one of the better debates I've had here. It's been absolutely crazy great. By the way, the place I had the waffles and the chicken was Roscoe's.
Roscoe's
in
chicken
South
waffle.
Central LA. I went down there and my boys took me down there. It was absolutely insane. Added to the dub list. Hey, bro, I got to tell you, Mark, I give you a lot of love here, man, rolling in here on us here. Because I got to tell you, Philly and you, man, are spectacular at what you do. And I got to give you guys a lot of kudos. By the way, you're not obligated, any one of you. And you guys just come here and do this out of the kindness of your heart. And especially with your channels and how well they are. And we appreciate that so much. If I don't tell you that, you're not going to get me to kiss your ass that many times. But I am going to tell you, you guys are killing it. And really, I can't tell you how I appreciate you coming in here. Especially you, Mark, getting your – because, again, just like a Mozzie Smith double team, you get knocked on your ass.
Why do I do this?
You gotta love Mark. He takes a great beating. You know,
happy holidays to you, Mark.
Mark takes a great beating.
Hey, Mark, happy 4th of July to you, brother.
Happy 4th, Mark. Happy 4th, Mark. Yeah, America's team, real America's team, right there, buddy. The real America's team. Where America was born? Where's freedom and liberty born? Right here. What happens in Dallas? Presidents go to die. That's the difference between the two places. Let's go. Let's be honest.
Oh, holy! Was that too soon? Holy
Way
God,
too soon.
Bringing up the bookstore.
All I got to say is you better not lose to the Cowboys. You better not have a bad season because
I get a broom for that
will
game.
be coming due.
I'm getting my broom. I'm getting a broom.
This guy brings up Elm Street. Holy shit. A JFK joke.
What else is Dallas known for?
Too soon? I don't know.
You know, we got Benjamin Franklin. You know, we got all that stuff. The Liberty Bell. They got Oswald.
Liberty Bell.
Okay. Please hit the like button. Happy holidays to you guys.
Same to you guys.
You both very much. Thank you again. We appreciate it.
Peace.
Peace out. All right, guys, hit the like button. Ow. Philly 500 with an Oswald joke and a Kennedy bang to the head. Pretty good. Guys, I appreciate it. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Now, at least I took something away from that debate. Unlike last Thursday. See, we put on a better show for you. Nobody's falling asleep. Nobody's, gets a little butt hurt. That's what I call a debate. I was expecting to see that last week instead of mumbles. I mean, before I bring Xander on here, this just in for Disney and all the rest of you guys. Hey, I'm sorry that I don't give a shit what happens with those royal dudes and Meghan Markle and whoever those guys are and the Oprahs of the world. I don't give a shit about these people. If you're going to disrespect Pat Tillman, man who fell for our country, and you're going to give it to that dude that was posterized because he was like the King something's kids or whatever, King Smerry or whatever. I mean, he's Mrs. Meghan Markle. He's Mr. Meghan Markle. I mean, you got to get, you're kidding, right? Pat Tillman Award goes to that guy. When I look at me, well, how come every time I look at Prince Harry, I see Carson Wentz and I want to throw up? I mean, I don't know what we're looking at here, man. Everyone's giving me shit on my Twitter about it. At least, hey, once again, I don't give a shit what happens to those royal families over there. They're all weirdos anyway. I really don't care. All right. Enough of that. Wasted 2 seconds of my life that I wish I got back. And I'm trying to be nice because it's the 4th. Now, let's go to Xander Krause. And let's get like an observer's opinion on what he saw with the greatness of Philly 500. I mean, even with a Kennedy reference, wow. There in Dallas, I mean, he ended it with a big one there. But once again, man, was that a win for Philly 500, or did you kind of slide a little bit with Mark on this one?
Nah, I thought he crushed Mark. Love you, Mark Holmes, but I thought he crushed him there. 500 comes in, man. He lays the hammer down. He knows how to lay the hammer down. He closed out strong, like you mentioned. I thought that was an easy win for Philly 500. I like it because you did the same exercise we did the other day.
Yeah.
So I was kind of playing along like we did in the back when I was producing. Good stuff, though, from them. I appreciate both of them coming on. Like you mentioned to them, it is dope that they do that. They come on here, they give us the content, and they bring the heat every single time. And Mark comes into the Thunderdome, baby. I love it.
Absolutely, man. And I give him 100% love, and that's why I had to give it to him here. Hey, so let's you and I start. I'll tell you one thing, too. By the way, Birds 365 has just been absolutely killing it. But I got to do this to you, man. And I hate to do this to him, but I want you the next time, which will be Monday that we're back on the air, do me a favor. I want you to give that John McMullen a reality check for one thing.
All right.
He really believes that Nakobe Dean has more upside than what Devin White does. I mean, based on what?
Well, what's your upside based on with Devin White?
All pro.
Okay, 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, 4.3, 4.40. Has played, has actually put 4 years in the league, and he's only 26.
Okay, what's your biggest concern with Jalen Hurts?
My biggest concern with Hurts?
It's 1 year. Devin White did it for 1 year.
But my concern is not that he can't play in the league. My concern with Nakobe is I don't think he could play in the league.
Because Nakobe's never done it. At least Devin has done it at some point.
It may be not here at this level. I don't think Nakobe can play in the NFL. I think Devin can.
I think John's point is that that if you're going to project upside at the linebacker room, which admittedly there's not much of, there's not much of it at all. There's a better chance you get it from your third-round pick developing than a guy who's had 4 straight years of some of the shittiest linebacker play you'll ever see with the type of talent he has.
Xander, tell me, man, John did bring this point up that was excellent. And I, why is it that he doesn't care, Howie, about, and you also said, now wait, he did drop a third rounder in there. And that is an equity pick. It's sure anytime you're in the top 3 picks, that's an equity pick. Okay. But why doesn't he? And he cut another guy that was a third rounder a year ago that he picked 2 years ago. That was also a third rounder.
More than 2 years ago. Davion Taylor, is that who you're talking about?
That kid. But
yeah,
why don't they do anything at that? Why don't they do anything at that position?
It's a devaluing of the position, and it's happening a lot across the league. But to John's point, where he's right, is they've taken it too far. You can't be bottom 5 in anything and expect to win Super Bowls. And they just don't. They haven't put any good player there, and it's definitely a concern. I see what you're saying. I'll definitely open up a segment with Johnny Mac next week on Nakobe Dean and where he's thinking this potential is coming from, because I'm basically out on Nakobe Dean. I'm hopeful, but hope is not a strategy. Hope doesn't mean anything other than that I'm a fan and I want the guy to succeed, but I don't know. I don't see it with him. We'll see what we have, but it looks like another shitty year of linebacker play in Philadelphia.
See, that was and again, you're right. The benchmark that I'm going on is not really a great one. I know Devin can play. I don't know the other guy can.
That's fair.
I just don't know. Now, he's not wrong when he goes, well, don't you think, Sills, that there could be a possible high level if all of a sudden he's in this new system with this guy? A lot of ifs and buts, but you can't just shake that off and go, absolutely no way. And I can't, because I think Jordan is going to be a better ball player in this system here. So before we get to my expectations on this defense, I'm not going to do the offense because, Xander, that's too much of to me, that's a no-brainer. I think everybody's going to, I think even if they don't go far, I think you're going to see really great numbers on that side of the football.
I'm curious to still do it at the end here, because I'm curious to hear what you think about what Jalen Hurts is going to do numbers wise, and even AJ Brown, if Dallas got it. I'm still curious to hear your takes on it. I know I did this with Johnny Mac, but we'll do it at the end. We don't have to.
All right. So let me ask you this: over under. This is out of Atlantic City. Over under Hurts 22 touchdown passes.
I think it's got to be over. I know it was 23 last year. It was 22 the year before that. So he's been hovering right around that number. I think the Kellen Moore effect, though, but just based on him being a more pass-happy coordinator, he gets the ball around more. He spreads it out a little bit more. I think he's going to be able to work some of these playmakers in better. I think Hurts is going to have 27, 28 passing touchdowns right in there. So beating that number by a pretty significant margin. But I think he has an increase in the passing game as a whole. And that number is going to go up a little bit from 22, 23. And I think it should go up, especially as he settles into his career and he gets a little bit older. He's not going to be able to rely on the legs inevitably. As he gets older, as he ages, the tush-push may or may not work as effectively as it did last year. So we're going to see. I think passing touchdowns are going to go up, though. I got him at 27, like I said, right around that number.
I got him over too. I don't think he's going to be at 22. Barkley rushing yards. Over under 1,265 yards.
What was it? 1,000 what?
265 yards.
On rushing only or all
rushing
purpose?
Only.
Yeah, that's right about where I had him at. I think I'm going to give him the under because I think some of his other yards are going to come in different areas, and I'm not convinced he's going to play 17 games. Now, for the sake of the argument,
that's like 250 carries, between 250 and 265 also in carries, to put him up near that number. That takes away from the passing game a bit if they're going to do that also, which they may do early in the year.
Yeah, it is interesting how Vegas's numbers for Jalen Hurts are so low across the board. You know, it sounds like never bet against Vegas is what they say. And they have him coming down in passing yards, coming down in rushing yards, coming down in rushing touchdowns, and coming down in passing touchdowns.
That's not bad, though, because in 22, all the numbers were lower and you went to a Super Bowl because you ran the ball more.
Yeah, but they were higher than what they're set at right now. So the point is,
tell me what the numbers were. What does Vegas have him at passing yards?
It was 35-50.
No fucking way.
Let me pull it up real quick. John emailed me.
No way. 35.
Yeah, 35-50 and a half was the passing yards.
No way.
And he's eclipsed that the last 2 years.
No way.
I think this year is a 4K year for him, or right on the brink of it. I'm taking over on that. But that's where it's interesting, is that they came down on everything, basically.
What about his touchdown numbers?
Touchdown, what? Passing? You already said
passing.
It's 22 and a half. And then the rushing touchdowns was 9.5.
Well, shit, 22 and 9. That's what he had in his MVP season.
No, it's not. He had like 13 or 15 rushing touchdowns in that season.
Oh, okay. Oh, the rushing touchdowns came down. Okay, I had 22 passing touchdowns.
9.5 is low. He's had double digits all 3 years he was a starting quarterback.
Yeah, but I think that number's going to come down significantly too, because
I do too.
He's not going to run the ball 190 times.
But because of that, wouldn't you say that the passing numbers would go up? Well, they're not.
Yeah.
That's the interesting part, is that they dropped them across the board. So basically, they're projecting that the ball is going to be out of Jalen Hurts' hands more this year. I don't know how to feel about that.
Vegas is telling you he's a one-year wonder with that kind of stuff.
I mean, you're right. I don't believe that to be true, but that is what they are. That does seem to be what they are insinuating.
How about this one? More snaps at right guard, Tyler Steen or the field?
I think the field here. I don't think Steen has earned this job. I know they want him to win it, and that means something, especially in Philadelphia, where there's a lot of manipulation of the roster. But I just think there's better options out there. I think even Mekhi Becton, even if he struggles a little bit, is a better long-term upside type of option. I'm going to take the field here just because I'm not sold on Steen. Now, if he gets to start in week 1, I'm going to look dumb, because he's going to obviously win that out. But I'm going to go the field here. I think Stoutland gets some of these other guys ready, namely Mekhi Becton, and he'll go from there. The other thing that John keeps bringing up that's a good point, they signed a right guard like June, randomly.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? It either tells you they hate the backup, they're not convinced that Steen is the guy, they want to bolster the whole position in case of an injury. I don't know what it could tell you. There's a lot you can make them.
They're going to use more of those guys as swing guys between with Steen. They're going to use Steen as the guy at right guard, but they're going to swing Mekhi Becton, and they may even swing Tyler. So they want more depth there too.
Right.
To be more, they probably signed a traditional right guard. Okay, because remember, Tyler Steen was drafted as right guard.
He has starts at right guard in the league. I think he has 30 starts.
See, he's a traditional right guard. And get this, Tyler Steen wasn't drafted as a right guard. He was a tackle in college at Alabama.
I know, that's what I mean. He's playing out of position right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean.
Mekhi Becton doesn't play guard. He was a tackle.
Yeah, I like Tennessee too, but boy, Johnny Mack liked Tennessee, and from what he saw at camp, he said he looked underwhelming at best, and that's my fear with him. And that might be why they added the
injuries.
Yeah, well, right, he had the injuries, and that's maybe why they added Max Sharping, because I think that they're just not feeling confident at that position. Give a bunch of arrows to Jeff Stoutland, and one of them will stick. I think that's the philosophy they'll take him. Let's see what they do, though. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, and I think that's why they signed that guard, because he's your traditional right guard who knows the position and knows the technique there.
Yeah,
how about this one? Nolan Smith, over under 3.5 sacks.
I got him an over, man. I think he has to be over, or else I'm gonna be putting him on the Xander milk carton. I know you had him on the milk carton a little bit. I'm going to be putting him on the milk carton. If he can't get more than 3.5 sacks as a first-round draft pick in your second year, there's no more acclimating. There's no more my body wasn't ready yet for the NFL. Those are out the window, man. You were drafted to be as a first-round player to rush the passer. If you tell me you can't get home 3.5 to 4 times in your second year in the league, I think it's going to be cause for concern in Philly. And I brought up the point to you yesterday that I think was a good one. They drafted him and Jaylen Carter in the same draft last year. Fletcher Cox retires. They didn't need to replace Fletcher Cox because Jaylen Carter showed it. They needed to replace Hassan Reddick because they could not put that in Nolan Smith's hands. And remember, Nolan Smith is the prototype for Hassan Reddick. He's the undersized, fast edge rusher to get to the quarterback. He is built exactly like Hassan Reddick. So when that guy hung him up or that guy left Philly, you would think, let's move our first rounder and right in there. They didn't do that. They went out and signed Bryce Huff. Now, the rebuttal to that is they probably would have needed another edge rusher anyway, right? Like a lot of people came into the season with Hassan before we traded them and said, we still need another guy. So I get it from that perspective, but I think Nolan's got to show it this year, man. I think 6 sacks would be a good showing for him, and then you can start to get into that double-digit territory year 3 and year 4.
We're going to get a little bit more to that here. Here's another one. More defensive snaps. Isaiah Rodgers, Cooper DeJean, or Quinyon Mitchell, Keely Ringo? What group would you take?
I think you got to go Isaiah and Cooper because of the setup of the positioning. Keely's not going to play slot, and probably neither is Quinyon. So if Isaiah takes that outside spot, there's
more latitude with Cooper.
Exactly. There's more and Isaiah. Isaiah could play outside and he could play inside. So just based on the latitude, like you said, the versatility of those players, I would take those 2. But I would preferably have the other 2 because I think the other 2 have a chance to be our long-term outside cornerbacks in Philadelphia for a long time. That's an exciting thing. So I would like them to get more playing time.
Nakobe Dean leads the team in tackles. 2 games, over under.
2 games?
Yeah.
Shit. I want to say over, but is it over by default? Like if he's your starting middle linebacker, he's basically.
If you say under, it's over.
If you say under, it's over. You're right. It's over for Nakobe Dean. I'll go over. Just because I think if they're going to give him the chance, they're going to.
And I agree with John. They're
going to give him the chance. So if he starts at that middle linebacker position, even 6 games. I think he's going to lead the team in tackles for 2 or 3 of those games. Now, if you extrapolate that to a whole year, I think he's the leading tackler on the team maybe by the end of the year or up there, at the top. So I'll take the over on that. But boy, it hurts saying that because I'm at the point where I don't believe in the player yet. I hope he proves me wrong though.
Who has more sacks this coming season, Bryce Huff or Hassan Reddick?
Shit. I want to say Bryce Huff, but I want to say Bryce Huff because I feel better about the overall defense over there in New York where there could be a collective approach to this. Bryce Huff is going to have a chance. I mean, Bryce Huff had 10, just for context. Bryce Huff had 10 in New York as a backup. Played how many percent of the snaps? 30% of the snaps last year or whatever it was?
25%. I thought
so maybe that's more of a case for Hassan, right? If Bryce Huff got double digits over there as a 30% of the snap player, if Reddick plays 70% of the snaps, he might get 17, 18 sacks. Yeah, you might have to go Hassan Reddick here. Yeah, I'm going to switch my answer. I'm going to go Hassan Reddick.
Let me ask you something that hasn't been broached. Okay. So the Jets let Huff walk out the building. They didn't trade him. They turn around and they trade for Reddick, and they basically are paying him. Isn't it the reverse in New York? What happened in Philly with Reddick? And this, what I mean is, they didn't want to pay him $15 million or $17 million in New York.
They traded him and signed a guy.
They basically said, I'd rather pay Reddick the money.
No,
so they paid him, and they allowed the other guy to kind of walk out the building like when Hassan walked out the building in Carolina. Why, if this guy is such a major talent, why would the Jets, who are looking for major talent, especially a defensive-minded guy in Robert Saleh, why would you just let that guy walk out of the building for no compensation?
Well, here's the other evaluation, right? There's the football evaluation, and then there's the business evaluation. Who would you rather do business like? The Jets gave up a pick and let their guy walk for nothing. The Eagles got a pick back and didn't give up any pick to sign the new younger guy.
Okay,
the Eagles do business the right way. That's the one element here you can't deny. Now, if Bryce Huff sucks,
but I'm paying for a guy that I know who he is. I'm not paying for a guy I'm not sure who he is. I mean, Hassan Reddick has established himself in this league as a consistent pass rusher. There's only one other guy in the last 4 years with double-digit sacks, and that's Reddick. This guy has not established himself. So if I'm going to pay someone, I'm going to pay the established guy. Who would you rather pay? Guy coming out of college, do a sports talk show for you, Xander? Or a guy that's been doing it a billion years, kind of knows what he's doing? So, I mean, there's both sides. I'm not saying you're wrong, but the Jets looked at it like this. If I'm going to pay that kind of money, I'm going to pay money for an established dude more than I am for a guy I don't know what I'm looking at here.
That's fair, but the projection isn't off base for the Eagles. He had 10 sacks last year on 30% of plays. He was at top 5 in all 3 of these categories: pass rush win rate, pressure percentage, and I forget what the third one was. It was another one in regards to pressure. Maybe it was just overall pressures on quarterback.
Was it hits on the quarterback?
No, because he didn't play enough snaps for that. It was like a percentage thing where, based on how many plays he played, he won X amount of times per play.
Oh, he had a win rate.
I forget exactly.
It was a win rate.
It was it was a pass rush win rate, and then there was, I don't know if it was pressure rate or whatever it was, but he was top 5 in all those categories. So if you're going to say, if he wasn't that, then you could be like, well, why did the Eagles do that? But they made a projection based on those numbers, which is a fair thing to do. Now, if the player doesn't turn out, hindsight, you're going to be like, what a mistake. But you can't knock the process. It's like drafting, Devontae Smith. It's like, if he failed miserably, you wouldn't really knock the Eagles for it.
No.
You know what I mean? No. You'd be like, well, hey, I get why they took the guy.
I took a swing.
I get why they signed Bryce Huff is what I'm getting at. So, you're right. It is a projection. He's not Hassan Reddick, but I also wonder if Hassan Reddick might be a little bit overrated by even us fans here in Philly because of how well he did for us. I mean, 4 teams in 5 years,
I still can't wrap my head around that.
The Jets don't. Now the Jets made the trade for him. They don't even want to give him they don't even want to pay him.
I can't wrap my head around why you're on so many teams in 5 years.
I know, and that's where I'm like, I wonder if there's something else to the player that we're missing. Maybe it's something football related, maybe it's something locker room related.
Attitude.
Maybe the guy is just a jackass. I don't know. I'm not saying he is. I'm just speculating on what that could be, because 4 teams in 5 years or 6 years, whatever it is not good. I mean, great players don't do that.
No.
No. Great players, that doesn't happen to great players.
It's 3 teams in 5 years.
No, because he
walked out of Arizona,
3 years.
He walked out of Carolina, and he's been in Philly for 2. Now he's with the Jets. So
that's 4 teams.
That's 4 teams in 5 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of teams, brother.
And for all that production,
I know. That's why I wonder if there's more than meets the eye on the Hassan Reddick situation. Look, I feel good about Johnny Mack. Admittedly, Johnny Mack has made me feel better about Bryce Huff because he's brought out some of the numbers and has showed me why he thinks it's going to work out well for them. And he's doing that in an objective, unbiased way. So I feel a little bit better about Bryce Huff, but you're still right. I mean, you got rid of the proven guy and you picked up a potential guy. So it may or may not work for the Eagles, but the business move of it was a sound move, I would say.
How many playoff wins over under 1 this year?
We got to do 1.5, right? If I go under, they got none. If you go, shit, you going 1 with me?
Yep. It is 1.5. It is 1.5. I went 1.
Well, if you go, so I'm going over. If it was 1.5, I might say under. I might even go over there because I think we're going to make a run this year. I think we're built to make a run. I feel much better about the coordinators when it comes to, figuring out how to get things moving when they might become stale. So I'm going to go over here, especially over the 1. I'll take over on the 1.
I think over 2.
If they don't, you know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Me and you will be talking about an entirely new looking team next year, new staff, new coaches.
And the quarterback will be on the hottest seat in the league.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yep.
I put down some, by the way, these aren't predictions.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Okay. This is what I'm expecting. Now, this isn't just a starting 11. I put guys who are going to contribute in here. Okay. And by the way, you got to remember, some of these guys are on 1-year contracts, prove it deals like Milton Williams here. So I'm going to start there. I wrote down this for Milton: 50 plus tackles, 8 sacks.
50 tackles, 8 sacks for Milton.
And by the way, if he produces that, he'll be.
So that's your expectation, not your prediction, right?
Right. That's my expectation at that position. And if he does that, he'll be between a $15 to $20 million guy in the open market.
So you got 50 total, not solo, right?
Total.
And last year he had a half a sack. You have him at 8 sacks, brother?
Well, last year he was more of a swing guy. Now he's going to be a starter.
Well, he's going to be a starter depending on what front they're running. If they're running a 4-man front, he's not going to be a starter. So
who's your other end? You're really gonna put Huff and Nolan on the field?
No, not Nolan. You're gonna do Josh Sweat.
Who's your other? You're gonna put Sweat, and who's the other end? Huff?
I guess Huff, right? Or Brandon Graham. Maybe you're right. I mean, maybe he will play more of that outside, but I don't see 8 sacks for Milton Williams, dude. I got him. I would say maybe 4 or 5 sacks for him, and maybe 50 tackles. I like 50 tackles. I think maybe even 50, 60 tackles, depending on how much more playing time he gets. But I don't like the sack number. I do not see him getting 8 sacks.
You know, see, I got these guys in a 30 front, not a 40 front. Jordan Davis. I said this: 39 plus tackles and 3 sacks. And I'd be happy with that.
39 tackles and 3
nose.
sacks. What's that?
At nose.
Yeah, why 39?
39 plus.
Okay, well, last year he had 45.
Because when you play nose, you're taking 3 guys on. The chances for you on being able to be a guy that's going to have a lot of opportunities at volume of tackles is limited. Like Vita Vea and Vince Wilfork, those guys didn't have gigantic numbers.
Yeah, but he had 45 tackles last year.
But he was in a forefront.
Well, yeah, but he still played a little bit of that nose guard in certain looks, not as much.
The second half of the season he did.
And he had 2.5 sacks last year. I think you're a little low on him. I'm gonna go around the 50 tackle mark for him. And I think 4 sacks maybe, but I don't care if he doesn't get it, if that makes sense.
I think if he's around that, we're good.
Well, I would certainly say that, especially if he's eating up 2-3 blockers every single play. I mean, what's Jaylen Carter going to get if Jordan Davis has become a force on the inside? Think about that.
Speaking of him,
and then if you're going to opt to double Jaylen Carter instead, now you have a center blocking 336-pound Jordan Davis. Yeah, good luck with that one.
I thought he was more 348, but okay.
He might be. You're right. I mean, 336 is what it says online, but those numbers sometimes aren't always right.
Jaylen Carter, I got 60-plus tackles and 9+ sacks. I think this guy is going to be an all-pro this year.
I like that. That's a good projection there. 60 tackles, 9 sacks. I'm right on there with you. I would say 60 to 65 would be a great number for him. That'd be a lot of tackles for him. I mean, last year he had 33 total tackles and 6 sacks. So I'm going to project he goes double-digit on sacks this year. I think he gets to that 10 number, kind of like Javon Hargrave did a couple years ago for us,
Bro, when you're a double-digit sack guy interior, inside,
you're incredible. Yeah.
Sue did it once.
Early
in his career in Detroit.
Suplex says Jordan was 350 at OTAs. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah, you're right though, man. If he gets double-digit sacks in that inside, get ready because he's going to be backing up a Brinks truck. And I think he's going to anyway, but yeah.
Okay, because you talked, and John, about the forefront, I have an edge here in Josh Sweat. I know you. I heard Josh. I mean, I heard John say it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not that down on him. I get 50-plus tackles and 7 sacks with Josh Sweat.
7 sacks is a good number, I guess. He had 6.5.
The year before, he had 11. How many did he have last year?
Last year, he had 6.5.
Okay, so in the last 2 years, he's got 17.5 sacks. You hate that?
No, I don't hate it, but I mean, how do you go from? Well, I guess what happened last year? I mean, he played too
much
snaps.
volume. Too much volume and snaps.
He played an extra game last year and had almost half the sacks he had in 22.
How about this? Well, what did the guy do on the other side? Did he help him?
Well, Hassan Reddick, I mean, had 11 sacks last year, right?
What did Brandon Graham do?
Brandon Graham had
19 tackles and like 1 sack or 2 sacks last year. That entire left side lost like 18 sacks last year. Think about that. That left side had a guy with 17 sacks and the other guy had like 11. Well, it went down to 11 and he had 2. You lost 18 sacks on that side of the ball. That's a ton, dude.
Yeah. BG went from 11 to 3 last year. So I mean, it's almost like
dude, you lost 17 sacks.
Yeah, we need a lot of these guys to return to their 2022 form in a way, you know.
Bryce Huff, 30-plus tackles and 11-plus sacks.
I got him at more sacks than that. Did you hear my segment with John, by the way?
I didn't hear your prediction on what you thought he would put up.
Okay, so we were getting into Bryce Huff, and this is kind of where, you know, John shocked me a little bit. I know the Vegas, these are not the Vegas numbers. So if anybody's out there and they want to go and like bet on it or whatever, this is not the number. But we were doing this exercise and I said to John, if I set the over-under at 14.5 sacks on Bryce Huff, what would you take? He went over.
No way.
He thinks he's a 15-sack player this year in this system. But Dan, if you think about it, he had 30% of the snaps last year on a shitty team. Now, I know they had a great defense, but he's going to be the main guy here in Philly, and he had 10 sacks last year. So if he doubles his snap numbers here in Philly, he might get 15 sacks, depending on how, and especially if Jaylen Carter has the type of season we're projecting, a double-digit sack season, a 9-sack season, Bryce Huff's going to be freed up a lot on that outside, man. It's possible that he gets 15 sacks. I'm not saying he's going to. I would take the under on 14.5, but I'm definitely taking the over on 11. I think it's closer to 12, 13 should be the projection. And what tackles did you say for him?
30-plus, because he's only got 26.
Yeah, I would say closer to 50 or 40 or 50 for that. I think he's just because of the bigger role this year. But look, he's going to have to, man. I mean, how many tackles did Fletcher Cox have last year? How many tackles did, you know, Hassan Reddick have last year? These things are going to need to be picked up by these guys on the front, man.
Well, I'm going to tell you why those guys are here. Let me try to put this as simple as I can. Okay, so if you're used to running a 100-meter dash and you're used to running a sprint, and all of a sudden someone comes to you and says, hey, you're going to run a 200 tomorrow. Do you think you need to run a couple more of those 200s and learn how to get into shape with reps and go into tournaments and events to be able to do the 200-meter? You're asking this guy to go from being a sprinter where they put him in a situation where he's not conditioned. He's never been conditioned to play over 500-600 snaps.
Dude, you're making $17 million and we're giving him a 6-month offseason. What the hell are you
I don't give a fuck what the money is. If you don't have that conditioning and repetition in you.
Yeah, but your comparison was
I'm comparing he's not a starter. He's never been conditioned to go that length of time. You just got through giving shit to Josh Sweat because he had too many reps. This guy has not had enough reps.
You don't think 6 months of the offseason? You don't think if Bryce Huff isn't out there working on that right now?
Playing condition shape. Let me tell you what just to give it to you, Eric Dickerson told me when he got into the league his freshman year, or his rookie year in the league, and he gained 1,800 yards. He goes like this. By the time the end of the season came, I had not been conditioned to run the ball 375 times. I had to get myself in such fucking amazing shape for the next year where I could carry the ball 405 times and not get worn out by the end of the year. I had to have myself physically and mentally in shape for the amount of volume of reps that I'm going to take. Xander, that's a thing, dude. You saw Jaylen Carter run out of gas. You see Jordan Davis run out of gas. You know why you didn't see Jordan?
Bryce Huff been in the league.
You know why you didn't see Fletcher run out of gas like that? He's a pro. He knows how to play, and he's conditioned over 13 years how to prepare himself for a season. That's a true thing.
I know it's a true thing. I know it's a valid concern, but I'm not giving him an excuse for that. That's not a valid excuse for you to not perform. I'm sorry. You're getting the bag. You have 6 months in the offseason. I know it's not exactly as the game, but you can't sit here and tell me there's not anything you can do to get up to game speed, to get conditioned for the game. It's the same thing we're saying with Jordan Davis. He's got to get better. We're expecting him to do it without games being played, right? Same thing with Bryce Huff. You got to be ready to play a bigger role. He knows that. It's not like we're going to wake up on September 5th and be like, hey, buddy, you're going to play, double the amount of snaps this year.
Dude,
he knows that. He knows that right now on July 3rd.
Running 3 miles is not the same as playing 200 reps in a game. It's just not the same, man.
I get it. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying it's not a good excuse for him. So I understand the concern. I see where you're coming from. It's 100% valid and warranted. I'm not buying it in terms of giving him excuse, right?
Okay.
I'm not going to change my projections because of that. You got to perform, man. You got paid. You got paid more probably than any other team would have given you based on 1 year of good production. It's time to put up or shut up. And I think he's going to put up.
My projection on Devin White is 100+ tackles and 4 sacks.
Holy shnikes.
Well, eventually you've got to replace Kaiser White and TJ Edwards. Both those guys, one guy had 117, the other guy had 159. Someone's got to start to replace that. I mean,
all right. So what do you have it at? You had 100+ and what?
100+ tackles and 4 sacks.
I like that. I like that. That makes sense. The three of his 5-year career, he's had north of 120. 2020, he had 140. Last year on just 14 games played, he had 83. So if he's your starting backer, he's going to get 100. I like your projection. Now, Seth Joyner, linebacking savant, arguably a Hall of Famer, should be a Hall of Famer, Eagle Hall of Famer, Eagle legend, host for JAKIB Sports. He says it all the time. Not all tackles are created equal, especially at linebacker. If I'm 6 yards deep, man, great. I'm happy you got 100 tackles, but you didn't make a difference in the game.
And I still 32nd against the run.
Exactly.
Hey, if I have 170 tackles on the – hey, I made 172 tackles this year. What was the team ranking against the run? 32nd. Shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you playing, strong safety?
But look, if he gets 100 tackles, I think that's a success, I would say. I can't wait to hear the Kobe Dean one. Yeah, let's go.
Dean or other. I got 90+ and 2 sacks. Someone's got to take the job, dude.
90 tackles for Dean?
Yeah. I mean, because get this. Like we said about the other day, if Dean doesn't have 90 tackles this year, 3rd-round pick, it's fucking over.
If he doesn't get 90 tackles and he's your starting middle linebacker, you got problems.
It's over.
You got problems. So I think it's over 100, to be honest, if he plays the whole year. Now, if something happens or they're rotating a lot and Devin's playing some middle and he's playing some middle,
Trotter comes in.
Right, some of that stuff, maybe you'll see 90, but if he's going to be your start, let's just assume for a second he stays healthy, okay, for the sake of the conversation. He better have more than 100 tackles as the middle linebacker of this team. If you're going to play 17 ball games as the middle linebacker and you're not getting – Alex Singleton had 150 tackles. So that's a position where you're going to get a lot of tackles, especially if you're starting. I would say that if Jacoby plays, he will eclipse those numbers. I don't know about the sack, though.
Isn't it crazy? One of the only people that you have not been able to replace in the last 2 years has been TJ Edwards.
Yep.
159 tackles and what that guy brought to your team. Now here's Nolan Smith.
Wait. To add to that point, you know who's the second or third ranked linebacking group by PFF in the NFL going into 2020?
Chicago.
And you know who's the leader of that linebacking core?
TJ Edwards.
TJ Edwards.
Absolutely.
Here we are
And
sitting
you
at
developed
30th.
him. You developed him for Chicago.
And here
who
we
would've
are.
thought? They got rid of Roquan Smith, and they're the third best unit in the league now.
And that's where I'm like, look, man, we're sitting at 30th in the league, and we had the dude that's the anchor of the number 2 ranked team, and he made $7 million. It's not like he got $100 million contract. That's the one that got away from Howie, in my opinion. The Hunt kid will beat out Dean. You got Jalix Hunt playing middle linebacker disciple. I don't think that's happening.
How about this one? Here we go. Nolan Smith, 60+ tackles, 8+ sacks.
That's lofty.
Now,
That's
again,
lofty.
this isn't my prediction. This is my expectation. 30th pick in the draft. Let's go, kid.
That's a lot. See, I understand what you're saying, where expectations and predictions are two different things, right?
things.
My expectation is not that yet on Nolan Smith. I would say it's going to go to 6+ sacks this year, maybe 40, 50 tackles. And then year 3, I'm going double digit. I want 10 sacks out of you. You got to be a heavy duty pass rusher that can get to the quarterback, that strikes fear in your opponent. And then you're at 60+ tackles at that position. So I'm not ready to go there yet with him, and the Eagles have lowered my expectations for him just based on the moves they made, right? They brought in Bryce Huff. They kept Josh Sweat around. They're obviously not ready to give him that full-time role on the outside. So I'm going to temper my expectations with him because of that. I got around 40 and 6, I would say, with him.
Now for the secondary, I haven't seen them shuffle this thing out yet, so I don't know. So I wrote these guys down. I wrote this guy for Quinyon Mitchell, 48+ tackles and 3 sacks.
48 tackles and 3 sacks. Let me look at
Can you do me a favor? What were Slay's tackle numbers last year? I want to see where.
I'll get that for you. Give me one.
Where he was a year ago when it comes to tackles, because again, I don't know if he's going to be the starter, if he's going to
he's hovering right at 50 every year for the last 5 years.
Okay, well, that's what a corner usually
59,
gets.
52, 55, 57 last year.
That's what a corner gets. And now he hangs around 48+ with 3 picks. He's going to be all rookie.
He's going to be all rookie for sure. 3 picks would be great out of Quinyon.
It's one more than what you got out of Bradbury last year.
Yeah, and Slay. Slay only had 2 last year.
Right.
So, that'd be good. I would be very happy with that, I think, for Quinyon Mitchell.
I think the Eagles would be exceptionally happy with that.
Yeah.
Gardner Johnson. I got 78+ tackles, 3 picks.
78 tackles, 3 picks.
Yeah. Last year, remember, he missed the entire season a year ago.
Last year, basically missed the entire year. So if you go back to his 22 season, when he did miss a couple games for us as well, but only played 12 games. Boy, he's got a health problem, man. Even 21, he only played 12 games. So last 3 years, 12 games played, 12 games played, 3 games played. That's a major problem. But just going back to 22 with us, remember he had that huge interception year, 6 interceptions.
Led the league.
Led the league with only 12 games played, but he had 67 total tackles. And then what did you say? What were your numbers for him this year?
78+ and 3 picks.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. If he can play 17 ball games, I would say even closer to 80, maybe on the.
Do you know why I put it up a little higher? Because you're paying him 8.
You're paying him 8, and he's that type of player. Like even if we went to Keely Ringo first, and we might get there, but even if we went to him, I would have him at bigger tackle numbers than Quinyon and Slay, because I think he is a physical player. He's a bigger corner. He's not an undersized corner at all. Slay is very smaller bodied. So I would say Keely's going to be the guy that probably leads your, if he plays, if he's a starter, will lead your cornerbacks in tackles.
I got Blankenship at 80+ tackles and 2 picks.
80+ tackles and 2 picks
out of the free safety spot.
Okay, last year he did. Last year he had 79. Wow, no, he had 113 total, 79 solo tackles, 3 interceptions last year. Oof. Reed Blankenship's kind of slept on, honestly. That's pretty damn good, man. 113
That's why
total.
I think he's 80+.
80 plus on solo?
80 plus total, because I don't know.
He had
what they're gonna
113
do.
last year. Why are you
But
going
wait,
80?
wait, they didn't have the depth they have this year. So
Yeah, but he's going to be your starting safety. He's going to be your starting safety with CJ Gardner. Why? That's not a problem. Yeah, suplex, 100%. Ringo is huge for a cornerback. He's like Richard Sherman. Exactly, man. I like that player a lot. But back to Reed. Look at those numbers as a starter, brother. 113.
Okay.
3 interceptions, a fumble recovery, 79 solo tackles.
And they were 31st, what you just told me, in pass defense.
Yeah, but they built, the defense is looking better around him now. He had a good year, but
and they bring those numbers down, because of opportunities too. If you're better up front and you're making more tackles, you're not. Hey, he was making a ton of tackles. Why? Because they were not stopping the run late. See, that number has to come down below the 100. That tells you the people up front are making plays.
So you think the
can't be
linebackers
making
are going
plays on the third
You
level?
think the linebackers are going to make enough plays that Ed Reed Blankenship is going to go down and tackle?
You better. I mean, because you haven't replaced Reed Blankenship. Yeah, okay. How about this one? Darius Slay, 55 tackles and 3 picks.
Perfect.
33 years old.
Yeah, if he goes down, you're going to start to see because of that age. So I think that's a perfect projection on him, and that's about what I would say as well.
Okay. Keely Ringo, I got 70-plus tackles and 2 picks.
I love it. That's exactly what I would say. Like I said, he's the more physical corner. He's bigger, not afraid of contact, physical at the line of scrimmage, just a good all-around corner. I think I am very high on Keely Ringo. I watched him dominate the SEC when he was in college, came to the league as a very, very young player. The guy's only 21 still right now. So very young player, big, physical, mature. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be our best cornerback for years to come. I really do. I think there's a better chance he replaces Slay than Quinyon.
Couple last ones here. Cooper DeJean, I got 65-plus tackles because of his versatility and 2 picks. Because you may see him in the slot and at the corner position.
How many tackles did you have for him?
65.
Yeah, it's good. That might be a little high.
I don't know how they're shuffling this out.
Yeah, it's tough to project these guys because we got no idea right now on what they're going to do. But if he does play, I think that's a pretty good projection by you.
Let me just put that there. If he puts that up there, he'll be in conversation for the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and if Quinyon, I mean, based on your projections, you got two rookies of the year. Yeah.
Well, look at where you drafted him. I mean, we're talking about people that you're expecting things from. Fangio's playing a 34 limited linebacker depth. Yeah, that's why what Xander is telling me that John McMullen is saying.
Wait, let me put that back up. I want to, Sydney, I'm going to give you a shameless plug real quick for something if you have time and if you're up to go and watch it. Johnny Mac and I did a defensive masterclass, and it's titled on the YouTube channel. If you go back and find it, I will find it, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it's titled because it is worth your watch for anyone. John McMullen gives masterclass on Eagles defensive scheme. It was a May 13th edition, and then there was also a part 2 on May 14th. It's 44 minutes long. Johnny Mack gives a perfect explanation on why saying this is a 3-4 defense just doesn't make sense. It's not what Vic Fangio does. It's a shallow interpretation of what his defense is going to be. I would love for you to go and watch it. I think you'll enjoy it very much. But you're right. If they're in 3-4, our linebackers suck.
Isaiah Rodgers, I got 60-plus tackles. That may be a reach. And 3 picks.
That's a reach. The guy can't tackle. He's undersized, not aggressive, not physical. Great coverage guy. I like him for that, but he's not your tackling savant. You better hope he's not your last line of defense if somebody breaks through the linebackers. You better hope because he's not a great tackler, especially in open space. All the numbers. I mean, I think
You think he's more of a nickel guy?
I think he'd be better served there. But apparently he said on someone's show I don't know if can someone confirm or deny in the chat. I thought I saw somebody talking about that. Somebody said that he said on a show, I don't know where it was. Maybe it was with our buddy Thomas Mott. I think he appeared on their show or Josh Davis's or whatever that. Sorry, I forgot that guy's name, Josh something, who has a great Philly special show. He appeared on one of them. I think he said he wants to be an outside cornerback. So I think he's better served in the slot near and long term, but it might not matter. I don't see the long term with him just based on how much resources the Eagles have at that position. I mean, they're not going to keep him around. He's going to be 27 next year after this season, or 28. They're not going to keep him around over Keeley, Quinion, and Cooper. So, I don't know. We'll see what it was. We'll see what he ends up doing. I don't see 60 tackles for him, though.
Last two. Will this defense be top 5, top 10, top 15 versus the run?
Versus the run, that's a different question. I think they should. What, you know what they were last year off the top of your head?
I know for the first part of the season, they were in the top 5. Then that thing blew up towards the end of the year, and I think they trickled out of it to like the 12 or something like that, or 13. But they had built so much equity up, so I really couldn't tell, because the last couple games of the year, Xander, they just weren't very good against the run. They were giving up 140 yards. We were talking about it constantly on the post-game show.
They were middle of the pack last year. Looks like they were middle of the pack last year. No, they were bottom of the bottom. No, wait, they were top 10. They were top 10 last year. 3, 6. They were 10th. So they were 10th in the league in rushing yards last year, given up. Yeah, I'd say top 10, because I think you want to see an improvement there. I know you lost Fletcher Cox, who was not that wasn't his specialty, but he was good in it. He was a good, player in that. I think you're going to improve with Jordan Davis, and I think Jaylen Carter can do it as well. He's a versatile player, big enough, smart enough, understands how to play the position when you need to in certain moments. I'd say top 10. If we can get to like 7 or 8, I think that'd be great, but I more care about the passing defense, to be honest with you. We were 31st in the league last year. That's just unacceptable. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with the 31st ranked pass defense in the league. It's a pipe dream. So we need that to come up. You can win a Super Bowl being 12th ranked rush defense. You can't win a Super Bowl being the 31st ranked pass defense in the league. That's completely abysmal. We need that number to get better.
I'll take 15th.
I'll take 15 too. That's what I mean. If it means it, but I'll only take it.
Well, let me get to this one here.
Okay.
Pass defense. Year before, you were 2nd. Last year, you were 31st. What do you look at this pass defense to be? Top 5, top 10, top 15, bottom 3rd. Where do you see this team?
I think you got to get, I think, top 15, top 18, somewhere in that range. I mean, if you're top 20, I'll be happier, but you're not going to be happy with that. But it's tough to project, because last year we had Bradbury and Slay. This year we're going to have Slay and a guy that's never played consistently in the NFL. So it's tough to project you're going to make that type of a jump. Now, you added CJ Gardner, who should help it a little bit. Let's hope he can stay healthy. Reed Blankenship was already in there. Maybe he looks better with better people around him. I think you want to be top 15. I would say you want to be top. If this is a Super Bowl team, if you have Super Bowl aspirations, I think you want to be top 10. But I don't know if we have the talent for that. So I'm going to say top 15.
If the Philadelphia Eagles, I said 15 too. If the Eagles are 15 in total defense, run and
I think that's
pass,
a win. Yeah, that's a win.
they'll go to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
with that offense. With that offense?
No, because you can't just factor that the offense is going to be successful. And I've said this many times. Look, I wasn't a fan of our defense last year either. But damn, we scored 9 points in our playoff game, man. 9.
Okay.
9.
You had a bad year and you were 8th.
My point is, even if the defense was the best defense in the league in that game, you were not winning that playoff game.
Do you think if your defense was ranked 15th total last year, how far would you have gone, even with the stumbling of the offense? I say you would have made it to the NFC title game.
It's so hard to do this, because if the defense was better, maybe the offense doesn't sputter as much, because they don't have as many 3 and outs. The defense gets them off the field.
Better field position.
Exactly. All those things. So it's very tough to compare. But all I'm saying is, the defense we got corrections to do on offense too. Like, I know we added Saquon, and I feel great too. And situational football matters a lot. But if you're going to go into a playoff game and think you're going to win with 9 points on the board because you have a good defense, we're sadly mistaken. So my point is the defense got to get better too, but the offense has to show it. The offense has to be more consistent. The offense can't be predictable. The offense can't drop a categoric dud when the lights are the brightest.
That's a fact. Very good stuff here, man. Really, even like we're like 3 weeks out to camp. I heard you guys talking the Jets are 2 weeks out here. Hey, I heard you also say this, and it lit a fire under me because as a young kid, man, the Giants, like your dad, I was a Giant fan when I was a kid because of my uncle and all that shit. And when I watched that thing, Hard Knocks, last night with Joe Schoen,
yeah,
I was so embarrassed for that guy. He goes, I'm not paying Daniel Jones $40 million to hand off to a $12 million back. And I go, he's trying to justify Barkley walking out the building and you not getting anything for him. And I was like this, dude, that is the biggest stupid shit. You think that they looked at the $20 million paycheck that they gave Christian McCaffrey when they made that deal for him, and they're going to pay that guy $65 million. You think they're not going to try to keep McCaffrey and Purdy together? How dumb can you get? Play action pass is based. I think Dak Prescott's going to struggle mightily, dude, because of the lack of play action because he doesn't have a running back.
Yeah, it's true.
That thing was a train wreck last night. The Giants are pathetic, man. They might be the worst run organization in football.
Yeah, Giants are a joke. You know what else is funny? You listen to that one video where the one guy's talking to him about Saquon and they're asking about the other things. I'm like, why did none of these guys seem more qualified to do this than anybody here in our chat box? Like they were just making regular. Now, maybe it's just the TV or whatever, but I'm like, none of these guys in that room impressed me in the slightest, Joe Schoen included. So interesting. But this guy, Disciple, says, who's the secondary coach? There's two of them, basically. Christian Parker, who's really a pass game coordinator and defensive backs coach. And then you have Roy Anderson, who's your cornerbacks coach. Both of them are really impressive guys. Christian Parker, if you heard Christian, I don't know
they're
if
Vic Fangio guys too.
Yeah, but Christian Parker, when he spoke, he was the one assistant coach that I listened to and walked away from that. And I was like, wow, that guy's good. I like that guy. That guy's got a future in the league as a bigger coach than he is now. Now, it doesn't mean that much. They got to play, but that's who it is. And I think he's going to be a good addition to the staff.
The most important question as we close out, is Xander Krause a Shores fireworks guy, or do you go to a place, fire your own off, or do you go to a place that is designated by the family, the Krause family, to go? And by the way, tell your mom and your sister, the Cowboys it's a theatrical show. It's like a Broadway play. It's not really football. Okay. I mean, I get it and all that, but so for 4th of July, are you a Shore guy watching the fireworks?
We are a Shoretown family. Now, I have a funny story about this specifically. When I was a youngster, and granted, I grew up very blessed. My grandmother bought a house in Cape May, New Jersey. For anybody that's familiar with the Jersey Shore, back in 1978, she bought that home for like $50,000 or whatever it was, back when things were affordable. Now, at the time, that was expensive, but still, we still own the home today. I've been going there every summer, basically my entire life. So we do it there. But when I was a kid, we would buy fireworks illegally at the time. And we would go and we would find a little spot on some hidden beach. And the one year, I remember we were lighting them off, me and my cousins and my uncle, and the cops come rolling in with the flashlights, because you're not allowed to set them off in a town, especially a town like Cape May. So no, we are a beach firework family. I'm not Jason Pierre-Paul and my fingers, big kills. I can't do it. It's not my specialty, lighting off fireworks.
Here's my impression of Jason Pierre-Paul. There you go. How you doing?
Yeah, so I don't do the firework thing. You know what's funny? When I went to Alabama, people down there love fireworks.
Because they sell the fireworks on the side of the road, and it's legal.
We would come back. We would come back from school, right, after like Christmas break and stuff. And all the dudes that we were your buddies with are like, open up their trunk and they got shit ton of fireworks because it's on the way down there. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. But so I saw a lot of it down in Alabama, which was pretty funny. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. A lot of people giving me a lot. Cape May, guys, Cape May's classy. Cape May's beautiful. That's where my pops lives. That is my dream living, folks. If I can make this company work and I can buy my house in Cape May, I will be good. I will talk to you guys about the Eagles all day long from the comfort of Cape May. It's my favorite place to be on the earth. I absolutely love Cape May. So happy you guys know about it.
You better make this fucker work because I'm looking
Oh,
to
it's
look
working.
at the hand.
It's
I'm
working,
looking
man.
to work at. I want to be
Big Sil,
either in.
It's working, but Cape May prices are pretty pricey, my
Yeah,
friend.
well, I'm looking at the Hamptons, guy.
That's what my brother likes. My brother works in New York City. Now he likes Cape May too. But
I'm looking at Montauk and like.
you want to be you want to be in the Hamptons with the stuffy New Yorkers. Those stuffy
you're right.
motherfuckers who think their shit doesn't stink.
I'm going to take Montauk where my aunt used to go with my.
I'm going to take neither. You have
Dude.
fun in Montauk.
Oh man, I love Cape Cod, man. Cape Cod is pretty awesome.
Cape Cod's cool. Cape Cod's real
Cod,
cool.
you know, is absolutely great. I love the 4th of July too. Xander, great stuff, bro. Thank you again, man. By the way, folks, we are going to be off until Monday. Is that right, Xander?
Yeah, off till Monday, everybody. So no shows tomorrow, no shows Friday. I appreciate everybody in this chat. I know I tell Bird 365, we have a little bit of a different audience here. I love everybody, man. They crack me up. They bring great comments all the time. Just the best listeners in the world. They make me feel great. I love talking to them every single day about this team. It's such a blessing. I hope everybody has an amazing 4th of July. Big Sills, I hope you have an amazing 4th of July. We appreciate all of you guys for being here so consistently. You guys are the best. So thank you. Hope you have a great next couple days. Next week, baby. We're getting ready to ramp up, Big Sills.
Man, we're
Couple
right
weeks
here.
away, man. Couple weeks away.
When we get back, you know how the airplane gets on the runway and you turn the airplane and you're getting ready to go down the runway?
It's right
This
there,
thing's
baby.
getting ready to go down the runway here.
Yeah.
So hit the like button, guys, and keep it here on the National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Sills National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Everybody's traveling this week, so we get it. We understand it. We so thank you guys for coming aboard. Oh, Dan, I love Ocean City, Maryland. My aunt took me there too, and it was the opening week when Jaws opened. And it's seriously, me and my cousin, my Uncle Chuck, and my Aunt Betty went to and watched Jaws when it opened. They opened it in Atlantic City. Now, I don't know what it's been like since, but I used to go there back in the day, and it was awesome. We had a great time going there. And I love Ocean City, man. Great crab places, too. You know, you go across the bridge, and you get over there on the island over there. God, it was so good, man. They had so many great seafood places, so many blue shell crab places. That's the one thing that I totally miss about the East Coast is the seafood. The seafood on the West Coast, hey, most people on the West Coast, no disrespect, you guys have all kinds of different kind of fish and food. It's really good. But for me, blue shell crabs, calamaris, scoongeels, lobsters, mussels, man, just flounder, and all those great blue shell crab places. And they're all up and down the coast. Now, look, I'm hearing Wildwood's not what it used to be. We used to go down to Wildwood for, I told you guys, nickel beer night. And it was just a ton of fun. Man, I loved it. We'd go to Jones Beach all the time. My friends and I would go to Jones Beach there on Long Island. Then we would go up to, we'd go to Montauk. We'd also go to Connecticut shore. It's absolutely great. I love the Connecticut beaches too, down in where I lived in Japan. You know, I didn't realize this. Did you see what Dave Portnoy did? Dave Portnoy ranked the best pizza places on the planet, or I should say in America. I got to give this to you here. Portnoy, obviously, Dave's the CEO of and president of Barstool, and he does that one bite with the pizza, which I absolutely think is a great. It's a great segment that he does, and I like it. And I've talked to him numerous times. He and I, you know, I look at it. That's not kind of for me, but I do love Barstool. I've been offered a couple opportunities to do some stuff with those guys. I still may one day. I don't know, but he put that out there, and he had Hartford, and he had Connecticut or New Haven, excuse me, as the best. Let me see here if I could put that. What did he put? Here it is right here. He nails it here. Here are the best pizza places and the best pizza states in the country. Connecticut, number 1. New York, number 2. New Jersey, number 3. Massachusetts, number 4. And Pennsylvania, number 5. And if you want to throw Illinois in there, he threw them at 6. What do those guys all have in common? New England, East Coast, right around in the same neck of the woods. So you have Philly, Boston, New Jersey, New York City, and you have Connecticut. But he said Connecticut, the top pizza place in America. And it is. I grew up on Colony Grill, right down there on Myrtle Avenue. At the bottom of the hill, we'd go down there. My uncle would get about 3 or 4 boxes of those things. It's incredible, man. By the way, too, I think you could change any one of those states, put them in a hat, make your own order, except for Connecticut. Dude, Connecticut, just insane pizza, especially in New Haven. Just great places that you have in New Haven. Jeffrey Lurie was probably like, I will just buy the internet company Big Sills uses and shut his services off. Believe me, I've thought that too. And so have other people said that. Connecticut is the king of pizza, no lies. Hey, Flexen, you know what I found out? That the highest collection of Italians per capita is Connecticut. Even more over New York. I didn't realize that. There's more Italians per capita that live in the state of Connecticut than anywhere in the country. It's crazy. I was like, New York, New Jersey, Philly. There's a ton of guineas down there. I didn't realize that. As someone from Southern Maryland, ain't nothing like some beautiful Maryland blue crabs and crab cakes. God dang. Yeah. You are so right. Dude, Old Bay on them at the beach. Drop some beer on it. Shit. God, that's good stuff. Dude, blue shell crabs in California, that ain't happening. Oof. Nothing like blue shell crabs. Lobsters and scoongeel and flounder. Stuffed artichokes. Oh, dude, that was my 4th of July. My aunt would come down and help my grandma cook all that. We'd have gabardines. Oh, Mellow Mushrooms has some good pizza. Since I think the Eagles are going to draft Jack Sawyer in next year's draft, the kid from Ohio State, the edge rusher. Well, really, I didn't know that. Hamilton is 45.9% Italian. Wow. That's right, Spin Bad. Stamford, Connecticut. I would never have wanted to be raised anywhere else but in Stamford and in the Cove, where all those paisans are down there. I would never want to be raised anywhere else. I loved where I was raised. I would never want to be raised anywhere else. I just absolutely loved living in Stamford. You heard Gary Cobb. It's one of the greatest sports communities. Like if you were going to become a really good sports guy, you were going to go pro. Baseball, hockey. I mean, East Coast, baby. I would say this. From Philly up, Maryland, here, from Baltimore up Philly, shit, Delaware's got good places. New Jersey has exceptional places. New York, even Northern Connecticut, man, those places make your mouth water. Dude, South Philly. I haven't had the luxury of eating at any Italian places in South Philly yet. Okay? I haven't had a chance yet to eat down in South Philly and try the pizza in South Philly. I haven't. Okay? They have an Italian day in my part of the city. 100,000 plus go. Oh man, where is that, Sydney? Where is that? Stacy's Pizza, Angelo's. Dude, I'll try. I swear to you. Next time I'm in Philly, I will go to these places. I didn't get a cheesesteak the last time I was in, too. I know. I got killed for it. Angelo's the best pizza place in Philly. They have thin crust or thick crust because I'm a thin crust. And believe me, the undercasing has to be, and I'm like Dave, I like it burnt. Come to Angelo's. Man, I love the East Coast too. C24. I do. I miss it a lot. Sills, I'm originally from Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania. Great football. Great high school football there, dude. Great high school football. Jack says I missed the East. Me too. Okay. He rated it 9-1. Wow. Angelo's? You know what he did, though? Hey, Dan, take a look at what he graded Colony's Grill down in Myrtle Avenue down in Stamford. I think he did a 9.5, 9.7. He says it's the best pizza he's ever eaten. That Colony Grill, man, I ate the best pizza in the country. They had this place down there. It's been down there since like 1920. And my folks, we used to go down there and get pizza. My Uncle Richard used to drive down there and get 5 or 6 pizza boxes. That's the only place we ate was down there at that place. It's crazy how good the pizza was. Sales, who took you to California? The Mighty 1090 did, actually. Well, first, DFW. What got me to California first was I got a job in San Francisco at KMBR 68. First KGO. And that's where I really started my broadcasting career. Then I went to KMBR. Then I got a job in Tampa, and we went back east to Tampa, and I love Tampa. Tampa's got some pretty good food down there, too. I'm not really a golf guy. My wife is a golf guy. She likes it. Okay? No, my daughter was in Arizona, RTF. She went to school in Arizona. So we went to Tampa. We stayed there for about 17 years. I did radio there for about 15. Then I went down to Miami. Miami's got great seafood place. Love their stuff. Then the Mighty 1090. You guys know who Wolfman Jack is? So Wolfman Jack used to do a radio show, and it was on, remember American Graffiti? The Mighty 1090? Well, that's what the radio station that was featured in American Graffiti. It was a Francis Ford Coppola movie. Well, the Mighty 1090 was the radio station that was featured. And so I went there and was doing radio for 5 years. And I left there, not fired. I left there, stayed in San Diego for a little bit, was going to get the Tampa job, and kind of been floating around doing shows, but we're dying to get back east. Okay, I'm dying to get back east. And if I can get back up to the Northeast for a little bit, but I'm probably going to go down to South because Miami wants me to do a lot of stuff for them, University of Miami. Mario Cristobal's asked me to be an ambassador. So I'm probably going to do a little bit of stuff like that. Stills is the last person I'd expect to live it. Hey, RTF, me too, man. Dude, I'm like the guy on the island of misfit toys. Okay? Florida ain't the South. Northern Florida is C24. Northern Florida is. Southern Florida is not. Like South Beach and those places and the Keys. I'm going to move to the Keys. Sills, you come down here in Miami, I will make a visit. Mark, well, you can count on that because I'm moving to the Keys. I'm moving to Almirada, just so you know, because that's where Jimmy is down there. I'm going to start to move down there. Sills, a beautiful place is in Pennsylvania is the Poconos. I've been there. I like it. It's California taxes and regulations. Hey, DFW, I know. I pay $18 for one strawberry. All right? My brother moved to Maine. My Uncle Mike moved to Maine. I love San Francisco, too. San Francisco was a great place. We lived there for a little bit. Yeah. California taxes suck. You think? All right. So let me do this here. So you guys know Reuben Frank, right? And I saw an interview that he did, and I listened to it. Yeah, Marathon Key's good. And Reuben Frank disagrees with a lot of the narrative that's out there when it comes to Jalen Hurts. He says Jalen Hurts doesn't have a leadership problem. He says he had a turnover problem. And the more you listen to this, you could see where he would form this opinion. Now, I'm not quite here, but he's saying Hurts doesn't have a leadership problem. He's got a turnover problem. And he made an interesting comment about Jalen. You know how we criticize, including me, how we criticized Hurts for not answering the question when asked about what Nick Sirianni's job was, right? He says this. This is Reuben Franks. Hurts raises more questions with his answers when he's asked a question. Is that by design? It's true. Every time Jalen answers a question, he leaves everything out there to be so vague. Is that by design? Is that how he looks at maybe the things that I tell him? Don't say anything. But what it does, it opens things for interpretation. And when you're in the East Coast, people are going to assume that you're making a comment, and they're going to assume more for your lack of clarity. Now, Jalen has answered questions like, if you go back and listen to his interviews when he was at Alabama, he answered the questions pretty much the same way. Yep, Dan. It was a shitty question. Didn't feel he was apologetic enough with that one person that worked inside the Georgia program that was killed in that car wreck. I thought it was a shitty question. Okay, I guess he didn't, feel that he was sorry enough or something. He asked a shitty question like, yeah, that guy. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that guy. Yale says, I have no clue. He has a lot of power at QB1 in Philly. So do you agree with Reuben Franks here? Jalen doesn't have a leadership problem. Jalen has a turnover problem. If the turnover problem goes away, does that take away some of the things that we've seen and some of the things that we believe with him? I'm trying to be fair to this question. Are we reading too much into a guy who wants you not to read into anything, or he wants you to read into it? Make your own assessment. I think Hurts makes a mistake in his communication where he lands in answering questions. I think he makes a mistake in communicating with people. Does he talk to his teammates like this? Do they have? I wouldn't think he does. Okay, I wouldn't think he does. Turnovers cause a lot of issues. Winning the turnover battle is necessary for success. Yeah, but Frank seems that turnovers and leadership are the same. I don't think they have anything to do with one another. Aaron Rodgers has no leadership qualities whatsoever, and he has no turnovers. That doesn't play a factor for Aaron Rodgers. Philly 501, Cosmo. Hey, no, you don't, Yale. All you have to do is get the afternoon guy in WIP. He could psychoanalyze this thing. I'm a talk show host, dude. Those guys are psychiatric guys. I don't know. Hey, those guys are psychiatric guys over there. Right? Look at Dan. Aaron Rodgers is a prick. Yeah. Still great. Still great, though, right? Agreed. Jalen needs a press secretary. Not the one they got in the White House, I'll tell you that. Turnovers are more harmful than lack of leadership. Probably so, man. Probably so. Absolutely. All right. Hit the like button. Please hit the like button here. It's our last day until next Monday. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore.
here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
I'm perplexed on this. Big Sales, please hit the like button. Now Howard Eskin has been banned by the Sixers. And the Wells Fargo Center. After the investigation came out where he sexually harassed, allegedly, an employee that works there at the Phillies ballpark. You know, when you stay in some place too long, you're going to become a villain. And I'm against cancel culture. I'm a product of it. Things get rolling and it can't stop and it rolls downhill. And it's very uncool. You could make an honest mistake. Okay? You could make an honest mistake. And I'm not justifying anything. Ban him for a year from all of Philly. Get it. Sorry, Xander. You do that one. There we go. Chargers ditching run game. And finals concerning. Yes. And I hate cancel culture. WIP's probably next. Odyssey got a big issue there because the afternoon guys got their son on it. The son was just a program director at WFAN. And he's a big name, former program director at WIP. Now Spike's got nothing to do with this. Some of you are like, who? He's a executive inside of Odyssey, and he's been elevated at one time to be the program director at WFAN, their number one property. I still think it's IP, but you could debate it. Now he's on Afternoon Drive in Philly, and Spike's got nothing to do with it. He's just a casualty of it and collateral damage of it, and God knows what happened. And again, I am not in any way backing him, but I will tell you, stuff like this starts rolling downhill and it gets into being a freight train. So for me to kill him, I can't, because I've been on the other end of that and it is brutal. They'll bring up anything from 88 years ago that you said when radio was completely different. Our country was different. We said things differently. Radio, when I got into it 40 years ago, you could say anything you wanted. You could make and have Chinese impressions. Look at Howard Stern. He made a career out of being a guy who was saying racist things all the time. Now he's some sort of like liberal. That's not how Howard Stern made his money. Howard Stern was not a liberal. He was a guy who ripped black people, said the craziest shit I would never say, but he made a fortune doing it. I mean, crazy. I guarantee you by the end of the week, Howard Eskin will be fired as a sideline reporter for the Eagles. And they'll be looking for a new dude because cancel culture is out in force. This guy's going down. And it's a shame because this is how your career is going to end. Your career is going to end like Howard Cosell. That's how your career ends if you stay too long. Hey, on a good note, it's one of the best weeks of the year, 4th of July. Be safe out there, okay? Have yourself a great time. We'll see you back Monday. God bless all of you. Big Joe and Xander, thank you for everything. You made my day today. I appreciate you guys. God bless all of you. 2 to 6 on Monday. And as I told Xander, we're turning the plane now, and we're getting on the runway. By next week, we'll be taking off. We'll be about 2 weeks out from the start of training camp. The Jets will start that Sunday, training camp, because they're going to play in the Hall of Fame game, which is crazy. God bless all of you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the